So we've got so much to discuss this week. It's unbelievable. It's like you've had weeks of just, casual TWABs and bits of information, and now we're just going to open the floodgates, just go, here is everything, and we're just not going to stop. It's going to be something for every day. So we need to discuss it
this week. Yeah, it's almost as if this week someone said, "Listen, by November 15th, you have to have all of this out." So every day this week, we get one new, TWAB insight, patch notes,
tweet.
Don't tweet. Yeah, don't call it a roadmap, but it's a upcoming calendar of events. Yeah, not a full roadmap, just a content calendar. Just the short term, what you can expect to see.
And I'm quite excited. There's lots to discuss, so I'm going to roll those titles, and then we can discuss stuff.
Sounds beautiful.
Welcome to the Two Titans and a Hunter Destiny 2 podcast, a show dedicated to bringing you the latest intel, the mightiest news, and the boldest opinions from the farthest reaches of the Sol system. Whether you're a bright-eyed new guardian, fresh from the Cosmodrome, or a battle-hardened veteran of the Red War, this is your Destiny destination. We'll arm you with tips, tricks, and tower-worthy tools to help you triumph, thrive, and revel in the glory of the fight. So without further ado, let's get on with the show.
So welcome to the show. Peroty and Night Demon are here once again to tell you all the good stuff, because there is just good stuff this week.
Pure good stuff. We are all sitting here. We are at our tier 6. Remember, this is not a marathon. This is a sprint to get through all this information. And we have all the good stuff because it is our destiny to talk about it each and every week.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've got a tier 6 something.
I saw
something dropped tier 6, I think, for me.
I assume you've seen those tier 6 people talking about the tier 6 stuff, and I'm going, my honest first thought was, is this a bug or is this meant to happen? Yeah. Are we going to have, tier 6 through 10 or 6 and 7 or, tier something beyond 5? Or is it just a whoopsie? We added this and now it's showing up as a tier 6 for some reason.
Now, surely, if you're adding tier 6s, or if it's in the game that says tier 6 and it's this and that, can they put that down to a bug? Is it a bug, or is it something that is actually programmed into the game that then has slipped out as a bug? Because surely you would have to write the number 6 in somewhere in the programming. So somewhere in the programming, it says tier 6. So I can only assume that maybe that's what went wrong.
I mean, that's in normal times, I would have said, we went from 1 to 5. Sure, it makes sense that we're going to get a 6 at some point, but they wouldn't just drop like 6 through 10 on us. But yeah, they give us 6 here and maybe 7 and then roll it out. But the way things have been going, it's just so hard to tell what's a bug, what's intentional, and what's maybe a little bit of both.
What's real in this world anymore?
Truly. Who are we? What are we doing here? Is Telesto at the helm? It's hard to say.
Well, Cheese did put out a video saying that, is there another Telesto bug or is it a hoax? But I didn't watch it this week because I thought that just looks like a fun one. And I'm busy. I'm busy in the mines because I've been grinding in my salt mines, and I've been doing my call to arms. And I was going to come on the show this week and really rant about it. I'm still going to kind of critique it because, yeah, I mean, it started, and it started with a big bang of like loads of different things, and you could earn loads of different weapons and gear, and the loot was kind of just flowing. And then we found out that you had to be at 550 to actually get any points in the whole system. I was like, I logged on Wednesday, and I thought, I'm just going to sit down and see what I can do and what I can go through. Played the salt mines as the first thing. Got a decent enough score, and I was like, oh, okay. Then I went and played a couple of other bits on it, and I was like, the scores aren't really working. And I was going to get really frustrated because I thought, what's the point of putting a new event into it and it hasn't got matchmaking? But then the actual activities do have matchmaking. I mean, Zone Control has matchmaking, obviously, because it's Crucible. Salt mines, you don't need it, but the other couple of things, that the coil, heliostat, and proving grounds are all kind of match made. I was like, oh, this is really good. So potentially I could load up with people and it will give me a chance at getting high scores. And then when I kind of came out of the matchmaking for a couple of these things, I was like, yeah. And then I realised, again, especially with the salt mines, that I could go back into it and then customise it to actually put on all these kind of different debuffs. And I'd watched As to Cross, and I think I'd watched, it might have been Fallout. Somebody, anyway, they were talking about the fact that you have to be 550 and literally put on every max debuff that you can find, anything that says -5 or has then kind of push your score up, and you have to do kind of the 5s and the 4s. And I hadn't put the kind of the timer restriction on, and I hadn't done the ammo thing, because I just kind of played the version that was in the portal, because I just assumed you've put it in the portal, that's the way that we can kind of play solo, play Crucible, and team up with other people in the matchmaking to do these high scores. But it turns out that's not the case.
Yeah, like the game used to be. I load up the activity, it's at a sufficient difficulty for this event, and then I go play it. No, sir. You have not spent 45 minutes customizing your run and making it harder than it needs to be.
And I mean, it was a bit like the Guardian games, for instance. When we've had Guardian games, and you've gone and played like the Nightfall that's in, or the Grandmaster Nightfall that was in Guardian games, it was set to a specific thing, and you could go and play it, and everybody was playing the same Nightfall and getting that score, or getting scores based on just that one specific thing. So yeah, to find out that you have to be at 550 because there's a score multiplier that is affected by how high and light you are. And I'm like, this is going to be hard, because I think I started at 505, came out of Fest of the Lost at 505, and I was like, how quickly can I kind of level up? And one of the videos, I think, was, I can't remember who it was, but a couple of people said, at the end of the day, you have to be 550, but if you spend a night or two grinding, and you should be able to get from like 500 to 550, because Bungie had kind of increased the amount of powerful drops that you were getting, it was going to be quite quick. I was like, I'm not entirely sure. So I spent, I think, the rest of the day grinding. Yeah, I think it was about 3 to 4 hours of just kind of going around and doing all the portal activities that were giving me +3 drops in whatever area. And I got to, it must have been about 515, 516. So I'd gone up 10 levels in about 4 hours. And I'm like, I know you guys are already at 500 or already at 550. So it's really hard for you to kind of gauge whether what you could do in the portal will bring you up and how fast it can. I mean, yeah, you telling people that you can get really quickly from 500 to 550 or level up really quickly from doing these events, it's not that quick, especially if you don't have a team, because you are then reliant on doing stuff that is in the actual portal that is match made, that will give you a significant kind of bump. I mean, I did play a bit of Crucible back to back, and that was giving me a few drops, but it wasn't giving me enough to do. And Salt Mines, again, after I'd done the initial kind of part of it, it was like 1 or 2 drops at the end. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a slog. So kind of in my mind, I'd settled into like Thursday, getting up and just kind of focusing on grinding and seeing how quickly I could go from like 515 up to 550. But then we got a tweet that came out that's also in the TWAB that basically said that they were changing how it had been kind of implemented. So they said that they appreciate the feedback, and based on what players have kind of been experiencing and the pain points, they're kind of working to address these things. So they've deployed the following changes, and this was, I think, Wednesday night. Deployed the following changes and fixes as a live update. So they've set the Salt Mines activity to only have Taken combatants, not rotating between the Dread and the Taken during the Call to Arms event, making a consistent experience when earning points in solo runs. Remove Cutting Edge as a requirement in all Crucible modes. Fix Zone Control mode, not recording a player's high score after the first initial registration. So that was also an issue, was that apparently the first game that you played in Zone Control was the only score that was registered for the Call to Arms event. So you could be playing back-to-back matches thinking you're improving on your score. It did absolutely nothing. And I was like, oh, jeez, this is just really bad. So I think that was the issue, because in our Discord, we had a discussion, because I think it was Renard that was saying, oh, I thought they'd fixed it all. And I'd looked at the tweet again, and I hadn't twigged when I initially read it, because I thought, oh, okay, this is all that they've kind of fixed. Because the tweet also then went on to say that they've removed the power multiplier as a scoring factor in PvE and PvP activities. This means that players at 500 power can earn similar score to those at 550. Change the boons to add a 0 red or green triangles. Players may now choose boons without impacting on their overall score. Changed all gear player states to add 5 green triangles in Call to Arms activities, matching the all bows loadout. So they, basically giving everybody a chance rather than just everybody trying to run all bows, because that was the main issue for a couple of things. It's like, why is bows +5 and everything else is only 4? And yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. You had to run a bow build, and the funny thing is, while I was at work and we had the reset, I was watching a video from Esoteric, and he's doing a guide on this is how you get into the top 1% of scores for the salt mines. And I was like, brilliant. Okay, I'll watch this, see what we kind of need to do. And it was literally all bow loadout, put on as many of these kind of negative modifiers on as possible. And you had to be 550. So, like, he apologized in his video, but he's like, if you do this, you might have a good chance at getting into like the top 10%. And also, it kind of, what doesn't help is that you have those escaped prisoners or those high value targets halfway through some of the events. And especially with the salt mines, there is a random chance to get this high value target halfway through. And it is just random, and it's absolutely mad that it is random and not kind of a fixed thing of like, well, you have to get to this point in this amount of time. Yeah, it makes no sense.
Score threshold, or and I've seen people talking about this. I'm not sure I've actually seen one yet. Now, to be fair, I've been running the Warlock Buddy build because I basically said, if I have to go do salt mines and stuff, I'm bringing friends. Yeah. So and they've been laying waste to a lot of things. So maybe I've seen, but I have not noticed any.
No, he's a chunky boy.
Any special? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I haven't noticed any special anything. So another thing I had seen people talking about, but just have not encountered, and I feel like I've run enough of them at this point now that I should have maybe seen one. But I honestly, at the beginning of this week when I heard about all the scoring, because I'm at like at the cusp of 500. I think I'm at 490 something. Yeah. And I basically just said, well, I'm just not going to go for the high score. Like that, I told myself at the beginning of this week, I'm like, that's just not a thing I'm going to worry about, because yes, I was like, I'm sure in a day or two they'll fix it or adjust it. But it's like, I'm just not going to stress myself out over this. I'm just going to go and play the activities and, get my weapons and see what other roles I can get. Yeah, it's wild to have a, test your metal, do your loadout, tweak all this. Oh, and also be lucky.
Yeah, absolutely lucky. And I mean, like I said, I'd played the event for a good half a day before I even watched a video on like, what's the best kind of way to get the scores, because I was like, well, I'm doing the stuff that's in the portal and it's not actually working. So it was a good like half a day before I realized that I'm just kind of being hampered by just RNG and Bungie's mechanics. So yeah, Esoteric done this video, and if you get the high value target, etc., he's like, this will bump up your points significantly. You'll get into the top 1% if you're at 550. And I was like, okay. So I went away, did this kind of whole D2 armor picker, sorted out a build with the Worm God's Caress and all the bow loadout, and I was kind of set. When I got in, because I finished work early, got in from work, and I thought, right, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to give it a go. Loaded in, completely different setup. And I was like, what is this? Because the first day it was Scorn, and then the second day it was Taken. And his video was for the Scorn. And it was like, okay. We now have champions? Because the Dread didn't have champions, and then this one has champions. And I'm like...
Right, brilliant. Yeah. That was the thing because I done the Dread. Honestly, I hadn't seen the Taken. Again, I only done like one or two of the first day or two, and they were both
Yeah.
Dread. So I didn't honestly didn't realize it rotated at first. Yeah, and then obviously they made the change, and now it's of course all taken. And yeah, I was not prepared. I was not coming in with all the champions prepared because honestly, Bungie again, you get that laundry list of here's the 18 buffs and nerfs we're going to put on you when you're walking into these things. I'm not reading all that. I'm not hitting the little button and hitting and going, listen, I'm going to go in. I'm going to figure this out. Like, it's just me. If I hit a champion or something I can't do, I'll just back out and do it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, got in there and it was like, oh, champions, anti-barrier champions. That's going to be a thing. So yeah, ran through it, got stuck, backed out. So let me go put some anti-barrier on. Did it again. But yeah, I can't say I missed not having champions. I mean, Dread are their own thing.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly not sure which is worse, Dread or champions.
Yeah, I don't know. But also the other thing is, I mean, they said that like I said, on Wednesday they'd kind of set it so that it was just going to be the Taken and not the Dread. So okay, we've got one consistent thing there. But the problem is the Taken still rotate with how you with the kind of environment. So you can either load in and have the Taken where you kill them and they drop the little blight balls that explode, or you can have those stupid blight things on the wall that push you, or you could have a combination of the blight things on the walls pushing you and those stupid huge blight things in the air that are just pumping out continuous blights as you're trying to run through. And it just depends on what version sees you coming, basically. It's like, well, am I going to have this version or that version? And then you also then add the RNG factor of having the high value target, and it just becomes an absolute nightmare. It's like, surely you could have come up with a better idea of like, this is going to be set in stone, so everybody has the same kind of not restrictions but testing environment, basically.
Right. Yeah. I mean, even just putting everybody on the same playing field, at least saying, "Oh, you're competing." Yeah, it's like saying you're competing against each other. Well, some of you are going to play against a world class goaltender. Some of you are going to play against a goaltender we pulled from the Child's League. Good luck. It's like you're doing the same activity, but it's not the same activity at all. Like, no. Yes, it's you're all there on the same field. You all have the same, weapons, armor, more or less, but yeah, you're not playing the same game. And then, yeah. And again, like some of you are at 550, some of you are at 300, some of you are, in between or lower. And yeah, you're going in and yeah, you're the absolute World Cup pro team, or you're the, child recreational league level and going, okay, do your best. Well, that best is going to be very different. Just how this launched it's almost as like when they plan these events, they forgot that they put in tiers and light level and that people could be, 100 levels different from each other, and to have the scoring based on that. It's like, did we remember we made all these changes in Edge of Fate when we planned this event out, or no? Because it just sort of boggles the mind a little bit. It's like, did someone not see this and point this out like day one? Like at the first meeting you had about this?
That's the thing that worries me, is that they don't pay attention to things that have come before. Like with Guardian Games, we did have an issue one year where something I vaguely remember was rotating, and I'm not sure whether it was, I think it might have been the Nightfall, where if you played the one that was on the Throne World, you could fire against a wall and you could do something and kill yourself and revive yourself over and over again, or there was a specific way that people were getting high scores from one specific Nightfall. And then I think it rotated daily between like 2 or 3. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but it definitely rotated. Something rotated, and people were getting less score for doing the other version. And you would have thought that Bungie had learned by that, is that you have to keep, if you're going to do a contest, everything has to be the same across the board. I mean, Crucible, you cannot control the variables. If you've got a strike, if you've got like a solo ops, if you've got a pinnacle mission, or even the coil, you set the things exactly the same. The little glass people that run through the coil, they spawn at the same point, so everybody knows that that's the point that they're going to be in that specific location. The enemies are exactly the same. You might have to deal with them in a different way, but every enemy is set that it's going to be this, because if you have randomization in any of it, none of it makes sense and none of it's good for anybody to compete in, because it's like you don't have like 100 meters track stars racing, like, oh, you can have 50 meters, you can have 110, you can have 200, go. And it's like, it makes no sense. It's like you keep the same constraints across the board, and the same with the scoring for like different people that were kind of different levels of people, like the light level. What's the point of having an event where you can go, well, you can get this amazing flaming helmet if you score in the top 1% of or 10% of things and get these many points? It's like, well, I can't get that because I'm 300 light, and there's no way I'm going to be able to get to 550 in 2 weeks and do that. Just
yeah, you could get this. I mean, you're not going to. You have no chance at it. There's mathematically, no way you can do it. But sure, you should aspire to doing this. Yeah, just like I've seen Esoteric posting his, top 1% videos that I just said, you know what, I'm not going to look at those, because everything he's doing is not something I can do, and that's even assuming the conditions are the same. Like you said, I built this loadout to go in against the Dread, just figuring, hey, even if I don't get the Dread, I can load back in until I get the Dread, and then I can sort of replicate this because I'm set up for it. Oh, just kidding. The Dreader now completely gone. You can't do this anymore. It's not even an option. Now you have to do a whole different loadout for a whole different situation that you weren't prepared for. It's like, okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I like the fact that they said that more improvements are planned for an upcoming live event, which was removing the power multipliers, as I said, so that people at 500 could access those scores at 550. But again, that is still not fair for the people that are below 500 that can't get to 500. It's fair for me because I have played and I've got to that point. And I think some people are arguing, if you've put in the time and you've got to 500, 550, you should be rewarded. Yes, but you don't have an event exclusively for those people and market it as an event that's trying to bring people back or get people interested in playing the game. It doesn't make any sense. Also, in that tweet, they then went on to say they're looking at increasing the revive tokens for the coil, because again, that was ridiculous. I managed to drag Noble in with me and we did a coil match-made activity. We started with 1 token. I was like, look, just if you die, don't worry, I will get through it with my sword and I'll revive you. And there was one point where our teammate, our Blueberry, had gone down. Noble had already gone down just before we kind of got into the boss room. My teammate had kind of gone into the boss room and he died. And it was the ogre where you have to stand in the 2 like pools of light. Otherwise you kind of, the darkness sets in. So it was just me with my sword build. And I was like, I've got you guys. Hold my beer. I've got you. And I was able to kind of tank it and kill the ogre. And as soon as I kind of killed him, they automatically got revived and we went through and collected more things and carried on. But it was like, It's absolutely ridiculous. You start with 1 token.
Yeah. And so much of it's all fun and games, if you get until you get to the room with all the slidey bits that want to smash you and all the spike floors, which even for those of us, who played it before and kind of half remember all that stuff, there's still so many opportunities to I took 1 half step too far and I got sliced. I'm going, I was not anywhere. I was not close enough to those.
Happened to me.
It's like I was not close enough to those for that to have killed me. But no, the game said no. You were there. Was a shred of clothing over there, and now you're dead. It's like no, I was not. Yeah. Like I died a number of times, and I'm going, did that used to be that sensitive, or have we gotten a little lax with our sensitivity on the coil? And it could be either way. It's been a while, but yeah, going in with a match-made activity with 1 revive. I'm sorry, no, and I feel like you used to get revive tokens more often. I feel like it was a fairly consistent thing, like. Because you
have to break all the pots to get them, but yeah.
Right, yeah. Because I played 1 round, and we were breaking every pot. It's like clearly it was, I was with 2 other Blueberries who had done this before, and we were shooting every pot, breaking everything. and just getting nothing for revive tokens. So we ended up, spending our end of run currency on them to get a couple because we were just getting nothing. And then the next round,
I did that.
I think we got I think we ended up with like 7 or 8 of them, and it's just like, okay, so just another RNG. Like, we weren't, I assume the number of pots were not drastically different. We were breaking what felt like about the same number of pots, and one time you get a whole bunch of revives, one time you just get none. And it's all RNG. And doing that with one revive, it's like, come on, because like the moment someone dies and you run out of revives, your other person leaves, and then because there was a point where I was dead, and our other guy was alive, trying to finish a boss room, and I was like, well, if he can finish the boss fight, because it was the same ogre with the 2 pools of lights, but he was a warlock with like the buddy build or some variation. So I was like, he's got enough tools, he's got enough survivability, hopefully to pull this off. And then of course, the third guy we're with just leaves. And then it kept cycling people in. Someone would join, someone would leave, someone would join, someone would leave, because you cycle in and you're dead.
Yeah.
With no chance of revive. So like you, I think honestly, we went through like 4 or 5 different people came in, and stayed for, no time at all to a few minutes, depending. And they would come in and they would be dead with no chance of revive. And then just wait until they said, why am I dead? Like what, like if you're going to have in-game matchmaking on an event like this, at least bring the person in alive, at least give them a life, like to say, not only do you not get the revive, you don't get the initial life that you are currently living right now in this moment. You don't even get this one. We're going to bring you in. We're going to kill you. And then we're going to make you wait to see if these other, your other teammates can get another revive to bring you back when you weren't dead to begin with.
Yeah.
It's just very strange. It's like, did we think about this, all the way through? It's like, I enjoy the coil, but it's such a mixed bag of just how it goes and who you get and all that good stuff. It's like, it can be such great fun, and it can be such frustration, and you just never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, we were discussing in our Discord that they sent out that tweet, and it was a full-length tweet of all the different things, but it was in 2 parts, and I hadn't realised, and I don't think Renard had realised, reading through it, that the power stuff had kind of changed, and they'd sorted out the coil and things, but they hadn't. They'd done it in 2 parts. I mean, they had labelled it was 2 parts. That this is what we've already kind of fixed. This is to come, but there was no kind of date or time on to come. And I was like, well, what do I do in between, or do I play the game, or do I see if I can level up to 550? What is my goal here, Bungie, while I wait for you to hotfix it? And I know it's not as simple kind of as to quickly fix it, and we got the fix, I believe, last night. I think it was Friday night that they fixed it. I think it was Friday night. So DMG said, hit some rough edges while investigating the power versus score component. Team has found an alternative way to bring players up. It's not perfect, but doing what we can as quickly as possible. So again, they go into this long tweet from the Destiny 2 teams yesterday saying thank you for the continued feedback for our first Call to Arms event. They deployed a live update that introduces the following changes. So they've tuned the scoring so that the lower power you are, the more of a boost you will get to your Call to Arms score to offset the score impacted of power. And they expect this to mitigate most but not all of the advantages that power currently conveys. This should broaden the competition by elevating players who can quickly complete activities with difficult modifiers while still giving high power players an edge. For example, with the right activity modifiers, a 300 power player playing on Master difficulty could earn what is compared to a top 30% score today, and a 400 power player playing on Grandmaster difficulty could earn what is comparable to a top 10% score today. Note, for players under 550 power, be aware that your Call to Arms score will not exactly match your Portal Reward score. And then they go on to say, change the boons to add 0 red triangles. Players will be able to choose any boons without impacting their overall score, which is a really good change because you couldn't put anything on to help you. You just had to rely on your bow build because that was the only way to kind of get through these things. And bows, sometimes they don't like the champions. Or you haven't got the ammo to deal with the champion, at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was good fun. Changed
Yeah.
all gear players' stakes to add 5 green triangles in call to arms activities, matching all bows. Our goal is to give players the opportunity for more variety in selecting modifiers during this competition. Remove the protected modifier for those pesky drones from the all call to arms activities. The score from that modifier has been added to the close to danger trade-off modifier. So yeah, that was also another funny thing, wasn't it? With the little blue drones that would go around one thing and they would disappear through objects, or
Right.
you just couldn't destroy them.
Right. There were, again, a number of times in the salt mines, like it took me a minute to understand why this, enemy was even immune. And then I was like, okay, well, there's a drone flying around. Yeah. There were a couple times, like in the opening room where the drone, I'm assuming would be in the floor. Cause like they were standing there totally immune. And, they were the only enemy left. And I was like, there's nothing, I do not see this drone. It is simply not flying around anywhere visible. So it's like, great. So it's clipped through the floor. How am I supposed to deal with this drone that I can't see, interact with, or do anything about? You built an immune enemy with no way to make them unimmune. So I was just trying to run by them best I can. Well, if I literally cannot kill you, I mean, I might, if I was trying for score, my score would suffer because there's enemies you just can't kill. And it's like, I appreciate you adding a new modifier for the event, whatever. But are you equipped to add a new modifier at this point and have it properly tested? Because I don't think the answer is yes. Like that was, just such a black eye on this event on top of the other black eyes on this event. It's like everything just comes back to, it's like, did you build this for the game that we're in now? And did it get play tested enough? Did it get QA'd enough? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. So I saw that they'd done the change last night when I was at work, when I was messaging you, and I thought, well, I'll come in today, and before the show, I'm going to test it out. And the problem that I've got, I mean, as I said, I was at 525 roughly, and I'd done a high score, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, and I'd put all the modifiers on, and I was able to kind of go through, and I managed to get the high value target halfway through. Just managed to squeeze to destroy him. I used up all my super. I nearly used up all my sword ammo. Managed to destroy him. And I then kind of finished it off with just enough time. And I was like, oh, this is brilliant. So I've got enough score. What score are you going to give me for this? And it puts me into the top 10%. So I was like, I got gold on the little score line, and it gave me 50 points. I was like, brilliant. So this morning I kind of logged in and I thought, well, now we've done all the changes so that somebody at my power should be relatively close to the 550 power. I'm going to put on as many things as again. I'm going to go through and see if, without the high value target, because let's face it, it's random, see how much my score has improved. I did 2 runs, didn't get the high value target. My score's still the same. I need another 300 points to get into that top 1%. And those 300 points are from a high value target that is just random.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
they just will not show up.
So currently I'm at 75 points overall. So I still need another 25 points to get the Seraphim Mage helmet, the flaming helmet. I've no idea if I'm going to get the emblem. 310 points for the emblem, and you've got to be in top, I think they said top 1% for each thing. So although the thing actually has matchmaking, it's still going to be an issue because you still need a pre-made fire team and have as many modifiers on as possible, unless they've changed it so that it's completely different. Because I'm playing activities. Let me have a quick look. I am on the ultimate difficulty, so I'm playing modifiers that are on the ultimate difficulty. But the thing is, with the stuff that is already pre-match made, they're giving you. Oh my god! So I've just looked at Proving Grounds. So Proving Grounds at the moment has got the close to danger trade-off, which gives the +4 modifier to the reward multiplier, the green arrows going up. Then you've got Lock Loadout, which is 4, which I thought they changed everything to 5. Blast, which again is 4.
Change, right?
Shield Touch, which is only 2. You've got subtle foes, which is only 2, and glass cannon, which is 4. But then they've put on a boon, which gives you a negative against your reward multiplier. And it's like, I don't understand that. That's the stuff that you're going with the matchmates, and nobody's going to be able to kind of do anything. But then if you go into it, you can apply as many boons as you like, and it doesn't affect you. So if you go in and you modify it, customize it, it changes all the different. Oh, actually, no. I mean, the bows loadout is still 5. I suppose you have to put on Touche, which is the avant-garde and the lock loadout. So you have to have all new gear. So I don't understand why they're not setting it up to be exactly what they've said. It makes no sense. So for the matchmade stuff, it's not actually helping you be able to get scores with matchmaking up against people that are of similar kind of power level. I just don't get it. So they haven't fixed that in the game.
Listening to you read that felt like trying to read that tweet last night that they put out about these changes, and that line about, oh, the score in the game won't match your score in the game. I'm sorry, what? Like this is just Bungie. You've taken what used to be my beautiful game. I could sit down, I could choose a difficulty level, I could go play it. And now I'm having to do long-term, long division algebraic equations to understand, am I going to feel rewarded after I play this activity? And it's just too much. Like, it's like going through all of this just to understand, am I going to get the reward that I expect? Am I going to be anywhere near I need to be after this run? Like this is what's this is just a perfect encapsulation, I think, of what is just turning so many people off. It's like, I don't want to come in at the end of the day and have to do all of this math and thinking just to say, I want to play this game and feel rewarded for it.
Yeah.
And it's wild. It really, I mean, it really is like they took Destiny 2 and looked at, I don't know what their model was, and really said, let's, our aging player base, that works hard all day and just wants to come home and run some rage with their buds or hop into Crucible or you knock out a dungeon. Let's make them really work for that now. Let's turn this into a full-time job, figuring out how to score it. And I just don't understand the mindset behind this. Like, it is like, I look at this and just trying to figure all of this out. And even, even reading their updates about, well, there's this many ups and this many downs and this many things you can put on here and there. It's like, I don't want to do any of this. Like, I listen to this and I just feel tired. And I'm not even playing the game. I'm just trying to figure out,
you set up an event, but you've got to go in and you've got to customize it to get the best score. It makes absolutely no sense. I mean, I don't want to be horrible to Bungie, but it makes no sense. You set me the restrictions. You set it fair across the board that it is exactly the same for every single Guardian, regardless of their power level, and then you let them go free. And it's just see what we can do with the scores, because that's the only way to kind of do it fair across the board. I don't understand why they're still having issues. Well, I do understand, because it's in the portal. That's the problem, because the portal has the scoring multiplier attached to it, that you cannot get people's power to whatever it is. It's like, I'm at a loss for words with that.
Yeah, I fear Bungie took all of our feedback about wanting to set up our own activities and scoring and systems and things, but missed the part about we wanted this in a Halo Action Sack style, fun casual playlist. Also, give me maps. If you're gonna basically say, here's your sandbox, go make the game, then where are my custom maps? Where are my custom rule sets? Where's all the rest of that would come with it? Not just, so we're going to make this competitive, in-game, free to all players event mode, but we're going to make it really, really hard and basically have you set up your own challenges. It's
But
like this.
that's what I don't get is that where you've got the match made things, they are set to various different modifiers already. So they've already built it into the portal that, this is how we kind of want you to kind of run it. But you get the better out of it if you have a pre-made fire team that you can then customize the actual activity to get the higher score. It makes no sense because you've built it into the portal to say, right, these are the activities we want you to play, and these are the kind of combat adjustments, self-build crafting, and the mode modifiers we've set in stone for this activity, but it won't give you the best score. It makes absolutely no sense that they didn't build it as, right, you do this with the match-made thing, and you can either bring your pre-made fire team or you can go in match-made and take a chance at getting those high scores. Just, yeah.
Yeah, it's such a weird collection of half measures that just I look at, and I mean it just I've been trying to sort of put, because I used to go into these, I really enjoyed Bungie events. I really enjoyed the limited time go in and play these short-term events. And this one I just cannot get excited about. And I think it's just because I'm just the amount of effort of having to go and figure out how even to set it up to score. And then, and then from the beginning, just going, well, no matter what I do, I cannot hit the level you want me to hit with any of my characters. And I'm not going to grind my face off for 2 weeks, in this event just to have a chance at maybe hitting that level and then having to start the event fresh. Like it's like, way to start out what should be a cool event on the back foot already of, well, you don't have a chance at this. Like how many people, saw that and said, well, I'm out. Why even, I'll wait for Renegades. Why even come back and play this? If the whole event is set up for me to fail in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's like, just, I don't know. It's like, I'm not trying to be super negative on the game.
No.
Because like what I'm playing, like I am, like I've really enjoyed the PvP mode. I've really enjoyed bringing this ridiculous Warlock buddy build in. But honestly, that's the thing. Like if I was running my Titan right now, I don't think I'd be having nearly as much fun because I'm running this absurd buddy build and I'm just laying waste to things and giggling the whole time, and it's great fun. But that's what's keeping me in the game is that build right now. Like it's not the replayability. It's not these events. It's not. Oh, I looked at. That was the thing. Like I looked at, hey, here's a 6 or 7 or whatever weapons you can focus on for this event, and I'm going, but I have such a vault full of basically all of these. Like there's nothing really new here that I'm looking for. It's like we have another event where my options are, hey, remember those last events you played? Want to get the same weapons out of that, basically? No, not really. I mean, I am, but sure, I guess. I mean, if you're gonna do that, bring back the the SMG we had like the very first event that I really enjoyed, or the lustrous armor. If you're gonna throw those in, give me some more year-tied apexes. Yeah. I have some like tier 2s of those that I would love higher tiered versions of, but everything else, it's like I've got 50,000 of them. I've got them sitting in the vault to sort through. Like it just, I don't know, man. It's there's a Fortnite Simpsons season sitting over there, and there's Destiny's Call to Arms over here, and
blasphemy. Do not speak of that.
I'm trying not to, but I mean, I gone on and I played a bunch of the Call to Arms and just kind of said, okay, well, I've sort of played what Destiny has for me right now. Like they're just, it's become such a small game. I've done the handful of things in the portal I can do. What am I supposed to do next? What am I supposed to do after that? Again, like, if I'm solo, what's my draw to come back?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Renegade because I'm looking forward to the expansion of stuff. And I'm really hoping, I know we're getting some, they talked a little bit about some of the new stuff and Renegades we're getting, but like, I just hope that and we'll get into that, of course, but I hope that some of it is just a return to, it's been a long day. Let me turn on my comfort game and play and have a good time and not have to think so hard about every piece of it. Let me, build me a game, put me some difficulty in there that's suitable to my solo level, and let me go enjoy it. That's all we want.
It is. And I've just loaded into the coil because I was just like, let's have a look in the coil, and 1 revive still. So yeah, that's not been fixed. All the power stuff been fixed, but yeah, I mean, I'm going to give them props. I mean, they've increased the reroll chips, so where I was capped at just having 21 for a couple of events, I can now pick up the reroll chips on the reward track, and I'm now up to 24. So that was good. And also, I'm not sure whether they listen to us, but I'm going to take props for it. I'm going to take.
Always.
Yeah, it's the weapons that they've got on the reward track are not copied and pasted from the last reward tracks that we've had with those weapons. They come with different perks, and I mean, I've got tier 5. I don't know about anybody else, and they've got the holofall versions of each weapon on there as well. Yeah, they've changed those, so they've done something.
They've
done
good.
something
good. Okay, yeah, because honestly, again, I hadn't looked to see what the perks were. I just said, well, these are the same weapons. So at least it is different roles of those weapons. I mean, at least yeah. I'll give them credit for at least it's a different loot pool, or I mean, it's a different perk pool for those weapons. Because I looked at that list and said, okay, we're doing this again, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to be sitting in the place of being like, when I'm playing, I'm having a good time. But that decision to say, do I want to go play this? And do I want to put in, the mental energy, which, I'm sure people listening going, oh, the mental energy to play your video game, blah, blah. It's like, again, if you're listening to the Destiny podcast, you're likely also an old who works full time and, has children and, manages a house, and, you have enough chores and jobs and tasks to do. Playing a video game should not be one of them.
Yeah.
Like, Destiny has never been this in the life of itself. Like, it's never been a, sit down and spend 15 minutes figuring out my, the everything before you go in and just play it. It's been turn it on, get past the loading screens, and then just play. And
yeah. I mean, they do have the raids and the dungeons and things, so there are hard things in there.
Right, certainly.
But yeah, but it was for everybody.
I mean, that's why we're seeing, I think honestly that's leading to some of the, success of some of the other games people are playing right now, because you can't just get on and play them.
Yeah.
There isn't all of the extra that you have to worry about. You can just get on and play. And I would just like to say once again, as I encountered an anti-barrier champion in Proving Grounds the other night and forgot to bring my anti-barrier weapon with me, why are all the loadouts locked? There's no reason I shouldn't be able to swap to a weapon to deal with this champion. And now, instead of just being stuck in a room with apparently 2 other people last night who couldn't get through it, I don't know. I mean, we have so much to get to. I shouldn't belabor my Bungie. There's good ways to build a UI, and then there's what we've done here.
Yeah. To be honest, I think the thing is, where I'm at 525 or 500, I'm enjoying the event to an extent, and the PvP side of it was pretty cool, and even Noble likes playing Call to Arms in the PvP, and he doesn't like PvP. So
yeah, that surprised me. I was like, if you're having a good time in PvP, it's either the Fortnite wearing off on or rubbing off on you, and you appreciating the gunplay, or they've done something right.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm appreciative that they've actually taken out the cutting edge part of it, so I can actually just go in with any weapon now. So that's pretty cool.
That was a very nice change.
Yeah. I did cheat. I did take in my Warlock with my buddy build. And that was the other thing that was quite funny this week. I went flawless on Monday because I didn't have enough footage for the show. I was like, well, I need to go and play something. So I'd finished editing the show. I then decided what's up? I could go and play more Haunted stuff. Oh no, I'll go and play some Trials. So I went and played some Trials. and I think I played about 4 games and won 4 straight in a row. And I was like, okay, brilliant. So that's enough footage. And then I was like, well, that's
Like-
4 games in a row that I've won.
We're like, can't stop now.
There's 3 more that I could do and I could go flawless. And I did. And it was amazing. Flawless. And
Oh, excellent.
yeah, I can't believe that I've done it for like, not back to back, but like in weeks, but back to back in kind of just times that I've played it recently. And it's been on, I think it was on Javelin. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I just like really just enjoyed it. So,
Nice. Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah. Sometimes you sit here going, well, I've gotten this far now. I might as well keep this going because I've hit. Someone is smiling upon me.
yeah, I think that was the thing, because I was I wasn't loading straight back in against the same team. So I was like, I did a bit of editing, and then I played a game, and I was like, oh, well, I finished doing that, and then I'll come back, and then I did enough games, the 4 games, to put in the YouTube version. I was like, okay, cool, I've done that. Yeah, and then I think I took a break in between each like game as well. I was like, well, I've got to go and finish doing this. I've got to check, see if it's the thing's loading up.
Maybe that's the secret. Play a few games, step away, take a break, come back, play a few more, get a different batch of teams each time, and not the same, 9 sweats you've been fighting all afternoon.
Yep. Yeah.
So now I can go to you or Donnie for carries, huh?
Yeah, no. Solo is fine. I can do. Well, I've proven that I can do solo with other people that are kind of quite competent, but to carry people, not yet. I'm not that good. I'm good enough to hold my own,
I mean, you may get dropped on the floor a couple times, but sure, I can try to carry.
Well, my friend always said to me when we were playing trials, if you can take out the person that you are going against, even if you die, that's still helping the team because you're taking out another member of the team. So
yeah,
I was helping him. I mean, he was the ultimate carrier, but it's just like at least it helped him, because then he was 1 on 2 was better than 1 on 3 kind of thing.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, exactly. If you can at least trade and do something, not just be dead weight. That's usually my job, is getting shot and being dead weight. Yeah,
I can be the distraction. I went from being the distraction to actually making sure that I was taking somebody out, to actually surviving, to then helping kind of take out the rest of the team. So yeah, no, I have progressed in my trials playing. So I feel I've got better. Yes. So let's move on to the good stuff this week. So we start with the update 9.1.5.5, because this is massive. This is huge.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they really kicked it off this week with just huge amounts of information.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna be able to get through all this. I mean, so we've got some portal changes. Mm-hmm. They made a scoring adjustment to the liminality fire team up to make it easier to reach 10,000 inactivity score. And then they turned it back on because they turned it off because it wasn't. You weren't able to get to that score, or weren't easily. I still don't quite understand why they turned it off to make a scoring adjustment, and if people just couldn't get there. But anyway, now you can. So now it's back in the rotation. And also the Desert Perpetual for raids and dungeons. They fixed an issue where the skimmed surface sparrow could not be claimed. Players will need to complete the NE Plus Ultra Triumph to earn the Sparrow. Anybody who has already completed this Triumph will be able to pull the Sparrow directly from their collections. And they also fixed that issue where you were tuning an epic raid weapon and you could receive armor for an alternate class. So now you should get armor for the character you actually are versus the one Bungie thought you should be. So yeah, if you've earned your Sparrow, go pull your Sparrow from collections. And your focusing networks. And that's it. That was our patch for the week. Now, do we want to go? I was going to say, I don't even remember what chronological order what happened this week. Did we get our Dev Insight first?
Dev Insight was first, yeah. We've got our Dev Insight.
And then our content calendar?
No, Dev Insight, TWAB, then content calendar. Yeah, content calendar is not roadmap. That's the word. Right. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. They don't call it a roadmap. It's a content calendar. It's a calendar containing some content. But yeah, but we got the Dev Insight we were expecting last week. This week, We got our Renegades weapon tuning preview, and Bungie did say, because people have been saying, "Oh, are we going to get an abilities preview? Are we going to get all these changes?" Yes, that DMG or Destiny 2 team, I don't remember which, did confirm. Yes, that is still coming. We are still getting the full suite of preview articles sometime between now and December 2nd. So presumably, if they remember before Thanksgiving, or just say, be thankful the game is working, and we're going to take the week off and be done.
Yeah.
So we are getting some global updates. We had a HUD buff priority update. So most of the character HUD buffs, the buff that appears on the left side of the screen, have received a priority iteration. It is now much less likely that players with lots of buffs will have an important buff hidden by a less important one. Get back in line, Void Breach cooldown. So if you're doing this is something I'm hoping maybe is on a UI rework for Renegades or beyond, is just all the 10,000 things that show up in that little area to the left of your HUD, that if you're doing Deepstone Crypt or other raids that have particular buffs or dungeons you need to look for, the problem is sometimes that buff was sort of being pushed off the screen into the abyss because you had 8,000 abilities up and they were showing their buffs. So now you should hopefully be seeing will be seeing in Renegades. So this is right. This is the change they're making in Renegades, is at least prioritizing this list. I would hope that they would maybe break it out to somewhere else, or just rethink that list of buffs, because we have so many things going on now. But at least it should prioritize the important ones. We're getting an artifact gear bonus, new gear bonus. The new gear bonus no longer scales with the gear tier. Your bonus damage for new gear is now just 5% across the board. And bonus incoming damage reduction for new gear equipped goes up to 10%, which is 2% per equipped armor piece. And all exotics now count as new gear, no longer playing the what's a featured exotic, what's not, and thus they've removed the featured exotic section in collections, as they are now redundant. So doing away with the silly new gear scaling and just saying use the new gear. Here's a small bump, which honestly makes the new gear a little less enticing to use if it's just a 5% bump and 10% for armor. So I think for people with large vaults and collections of old weapons and things, now I feel like it'll make those more enticing to use, and not just, well, you can use them, but you're good. You're basically taking that 10-12% hit on both sides of damage output and incoming damage you're taking. But still, you don't need that. There's so much new stuff. Stasis freeze. We've updated how frozen targets take increased or decreased damage from weapons based on their ammo type, and fixed a handful of outliers, so we're doing less damage than intended. So the Ariana's Vow and Leviathan's Breath bonus damage to frozen targets is going from 5 to 10%, matching other special and heavy weapons. They fixed an issue where the Forerunner, micro-missile pulse rifles, and the new Malpace did not deal any increased damage to frozen targets. Boo. Fighting Lion and
Lithium.
Yeah, that one. That stupid stasis single shot weapon that I don't think anybody has ever used.
I did. I had a stasis build with my Titan.
Well, there we go. Okay, so the one that you and basically the Fighting Lion and the Frozen Fighting Lion.
Yeah.
Though primary ammo weapons, they will still get their 10% damage bonus to frozen targets. They have a combat flare socket. So they've updated the combat flare to be reordered under weapon cosmetics, returning the shader to the left side. Sorry for breaking your muscle memory. So yes, they've taken the one slot that you basically have one or two options for and moved it off. So now if you go down to put a pretty shader on your weapon, it'll be where you expect it to be. Which is something that tweaked me the other day that I hadn't quite realized. Now that I've gotten to a point where I have a lot of tier 5 stuff in on my character in my vault now. I liked the idea that everything was going to get a blue sheen, at tier 5. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. What I didn't account for is now every weapon is blue. And now I'm looking at my collection of weapons and I'm going, everything's blue. It's all blue. Which makes it a little harder to tell the difference between things at a glance.
Yep.
So I think I'm going to at some point take some of those off, because I don't need to see every weapon as blue. And now I have blue in my head. My apologies, or you're welcome, depending. Well, now I just feel disoriented, Night Demon.
Okay.
because all the following are now going to use a new disorient setup in the same way that they handle other subclass verbs. So this will ensure the disorient effects are consistent and predictable across all gameplay atoms that use it, and open up the potential to do more with it in the future. It's still going to function as expected. Combatants will still cover their eyes, won't shoot back when the player's screen, while the player's screen will turn bright while their HUD is removed. Some visual effects as the victim in PvP environments might be slightly different on a case-by-case basis. However, these differences should be minor. So basically, they've taken Shield Disorient, Flash Counter, Bewildering Burst, Photo Inhibition, all weapon perks, Disorienting Grenades, Concussion Grenades, weapon magazine perks, Concussive Rounds, Reactive Shock, which are both armor set bonuses, the Gemini Jester armor perk, and basically said these are all now disorient things, and we're going to sort of treat that disorient sort of as all the same kind of thing. Shield Disorient and Photo Inhibition no longer have a damage impulse. The damage impulse did roughly 1 damage and was using content from another gameplay atom, and they're saying atom, ATOM, like, the DNA of the game. So basically, to avoid weird issues and bugs, they've removed it. So you are taking a 1 point of damage nerf to those, which no one will notice or care about. But hopefully it will prevent other bugs in the future, which we do notice and do care about. The exception from this is the Helm of Saint 14, which will be exempt from this update. Leaving it as is will have no effect on its gameplay, allegedly. But under the hood, it won't be considered disorient in the same way as everything else listed above. They are planning on giving it, some further attention in a future release. So I'm guessing that's one of those. This, Helm of Saint 14 is built, is built different. It's probably one of those like one-off builds, and if they try to make it disorient, it would do very weird things. So they're like, we're going to leave you over here doing what you're doing. Same for the Touch of Malice's Darkness Bolt versus players is exempt and will continue to be its own bespoke debuff with a unique screen effect. Against combatants, it'll continue to arc blind as normal. So, trying to bring that into line to have disorient be its own, sort of verb and sort of work the same across different places where you can disorient people and things. We have ammo system changes. So in PvP, we wanted to focus on, a couple of things, giving support and objectives more ways to earn ammo that don't rely on getting kills directly, fixing some bugs with specific weapons or making it harder to earn ammo, and increasing a handful of exotic weapons and weapon archetypes usability by shifting their ammo economies. So then they also needed to bring down a handful of performance outliers by a small amount. No, you didn't. You really didn't. So they reintroduced ammo scout mods on the helmet, which will spawn an ammo brick for your allies and fill your corresponding meter. So Ruin Wings come back when? The amount of ammo in the brick is dependent on the number of scout mods you have equipped. Ability assists, you will now gain a small amount of ammo in your ammo meter progress. Granting buffs, radiant, overshield, etc. to allies will give you a small amount of ammo meter progress. When they land final blows while buffed, they fix an issue where glaive projectiles were not getting correctly scaled by the ammo generation stat. Fix an issue where the machine gun and Lord of Wolves were getting less ammo than indicated by their scavenger mods. From their scavenger mods. Increase the following exotic weapons ammo per brick amounts for the Truth, Heir Apparent, the Colony, the Prospector, Darcy, and Salvation's Grip. They've increased the following weapon subtype families, ammo per brick amounts, heavy burst slug shotguns and rapid fire shotguns. The overperformer they talked about, micro missile pulse rifles. They're reducing the following weapon ammo per enhanced brick amount. So I guess an enhanced brick is special ammo. So our micro missile pulses are getting a slightly less ammo for them. They're reducing the ammo perks family's generation bonuses. These provide large numerical bonuses because inventory stat values need to pass a certain threshold to have an effect. But now every point of ammo generation matters, and their buffs are outsized compared to the other options for investment. So for Air Trigger, they're reducing the base ammo regen from 30 to 20, and reduce the enhanced trait ammo generation increase from 40 to 30. Sorry, it always throws me when they write their small number and then the big number versus going the way that I want to read them and my brain processes them. So field prep, they're taking the ammo generation from 30 to 20, and the enhanced one from 40 to 30, and Envious Arsenal is going from 20 to 10. So they're having all of those. Well, they're reducing by 10 all of those ammo generation things for air trigger, field prep, and Envious Arsenal. And in the Crucible, they're going to increase the lifetime of a dropped ammo brick from 30 seconds to 60 seconds. So if there is a brick, you've got more time to get to that brick. So thus, hopefully increasing the ammo. So we've got to our weapon archetypes and we've got our sidearms. I don't think we're going to get into why Bungie feels like they should tweak all these things and what they hope to achieve with all of them.
I mean, some of them were relevant, but it's like if we do that, we'll be here for like 6 hours because
and if you're really interested in all this, and if you're really interested in, we think it was better here than there or there than here. It's like, if you want all the nitty gritty details, I was like, subscribe to the Patreon. We'll give you the full unsubscribe now. Maybe that's what we'll add as a threat / perk. If you want the full reading of things, we will do a full reading of things. But basically for sidearms, they're altering the firing animation for some long-barreled sidearms to hide the reticle for reduced duration. So heliocentric, Fossus Decline, Compact Defender, and a handful of older sidearms with silencers / extended barrels as part of their physical model. And basically, there's some obtrusive recoil animations they're trying to work around, and some slight differences between mouse and keyboard and controller they're trying to work around. That's why they're tweaking those handful of animations. Submachine guns, they're going to increase the stability by 10% on controller. Love it. And lightweight submachine guns. Sorry, did I say machine guns or submachine guns? Submachine guns, let's be clear. Submachine guns, they've increased the stability by 10% on controller, and lightweights are getting increased ADS fall-off scalar from 1.4 to 1.45. So yeah, a little more stability on controller, always a good thing. Pulse rifles, some of them have lagged behind, so they're increasing the base damage on your rapid-fire pulse rifles from 15 to 15.5, and increase your crit damage from, wait for it, 27.75 to 27.9. So the rapid fires were falling behind a little bit, so they've given them a tiny little increase to help them catch up. And since you've all been running 3 bows this week, bows are getting some love. So the recurve bows, they've rescaled the draw time to a slightly faster base and less punishing if increased. So the base draw time goes from 580 to 567, and the high tension string draw time goes from 620 to 600. And for compound bows, they've rescaled the draw time to be slightly faster at higher stat values and less punishing if increased, from 684 to 667 base draw time. High tension string goes from 720 to 700, and the elastic string goes from 612 to 600. So you can draw your bows a little bit faster. Fusion rifles. So they've rescaled some fusion rifle charge times, again, sort of along the same lines. Rapid fires go from 500 to 533. Adapters and aggressives go from 660 to 667. Precisions go from 780 to 800. High impacts go from 960 to 967. So some higher, some lower. Precisions, adaptives, and aggressives increase PvE damage bonus scalar from 2.5 to 6.7%. So precisions, adaptives, and aggressives are getting a nice little PvE damage buff, or damage scalar buff, I guess. And the high impacts, they increase the PvE bonus damage scalar from 6.7% all the way to 15%. So fusions will do, hit a little harder in PvE. Not making any changes to PvP at this point. For shotguns, rapid fires are adding a 2.5% PvE bonus damage scalar, increase the ammo brick per PvE from 3 to 4, and 6 to 8 while enhanced. Lightweights are going, their damage per pellet is going to go up by 1 from 22 to 23, and increase your PvE damage from 12.5% to 15%. Precision pellets get a PvE damage bonus from 12.5% to 15%, and aggressives get the damage per pellet from 26.7 to 28. Someone didn't want to do that math anymore. Just made a nice round number. and increase the PvE damage bonus from 12.5 to 20%. So shotguns getting some love in PvE, which is good as I keep giving us shotguns in all these events. All right, so slug shotguns. They do also want to call out that they did take the opportunity to correct a bug where the assault mag increased the RPM of rapid fire slugs by an enormous amount. But they kept it a little spicier than normal at a plus 20 RPM and buff their PvE damage bonus a bit too. They're also further buffing the heavy burst slug range to better differentiate it from the other slug shotgun subfamilies. So for shotguns, they've reduced the aim assist cone size by 1% at the lower end and 3% at the higher end. Corrected the RPM displays in game to be more accurate. Doesn't affect gameplay, they say. It's purely visual. For your rapid fire slugs, they increased the PvE damage bonus from 8.3% to 11%. They fixed an issue where the assault mag would increase the RPMs by 50. So yeah, that's not going to do that anymore. Enjoy it while you had it. Your pinpoint slugs, they're going to decrease the damage against players by 6% and increase ADS fall-off scalar from 1.2 to 1.25. Your heavy burst slugs, they increase the ADS damage fall-off scalar from 1.2 to 1.3, and the base ammo brick from 3 to 6 at base and 6 to 12 at enhanced. Sniper rifles. Those are a thing in the game that maybe someone might use. They did reduce the flinch received from players by 40%. So they remembered snipers exist and said, let's try this and see what happens.
Well, I think the thing is they keep taking them down and now got to bring them back up slightly, haven't they? Because they were so prevalent in Destiny 1 and then going into Destiny 2. So
yeah, it's like we've nerfed these into Oblivion and now no one uses them. Let's maybe bring them back from Oblivion a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Rocket pulse rifles. I can read words.
Mm-hmm.
Rocket pulse rifles, everyone's new favorite weapon. That of course was very good. Mint Retrograde, looking at you. They felt that with Mint Retrograde being in the kinetic slot 45% of the time, we feel this is a bit unhealthy and too dominant. No, it's perfect and beautiful.
I've got a question for you. I haven't been rocking it 45. I don't think I've even had it on 5%. So I know people have been for kind of doing champions and things like that, but I see the advantage of it. But I was like, I'm not going to crutch on this. But
yeah, it is very good. But honestly, then you gave me the new Mint Retrograde, the new Malpace, and that honestly I've been having more fun with. So I'm sure again, kind of one and the same. Yeah, I mean, it is very good. And again, if you're doing end game content, I'm sure it is a good go-to choice for a lot of things. Yeah, I used it a lot for a while, but I haven't really crutched on anything since the Edge of Fate came out. I've been, except for my Yeartide Apex, that again just had a good role for a solar SMG. But even that I've moved on from now.
Yeah,
so, yeah. But apparently enough people are
45% of the time
using it. Yeah, definitely. Now, is it just like across the board, guys? Is that just like, hey, you got one and now it's just on? Have people just, who have stepped away from the game just left it in their kinetic slot? Like, I don't know. I don't know. There's no qualifier here. It's just like, we looked at the data and it's there 45% of the time. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, in this whole kind of dialogue with the reason why they're kind of going to nerf the ammo reserves, do you think that they've taken into account the fact that you can use it as an anti-barrier because you've put it on the artifact for this episode? Because that is, I think, a 50% reason why most people will rock things. Because if you can't use it 100%. as a barrier thing, is it going to be as prevalent, or is it going to be in that kinetic slot 45% of the time going into Renegades if you don't have pulse rifles as a barrier thing? I'm not sure if they take that into consideration.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure they have. I mean, because if you're trying to live in the new Bungie world with the new stuff, your choices are you're using the third iteration, you're using new Malpace, you're using the new Stasis Scout Rifle, the Jurisprudent. Like there's not a lot of options for anti-barrier Scout and Pulse. There's not a lot of new options, so it's like of course. People are, and again, and it's also just the new hotness. You gave us, as you say, a whole new weapon type. So of course people are going to, we looked we took one look at that in the preview trailers and said, A pulse rifle with micro missiles, sign me up. That looks amazing. Of course, people are going to use it. Yeah, I mean, just the inevitable. Hey, we gave you this new toy. Now you really use your new toy. Now we're going to make your new toy less desirable. It's like, did you really need to? Was this really hurting anything at all? But
yeah, this was one of the things that stood out to me. I was like, have they really taken that into consideration?
Yeah, and yeah, it's like, why, guys? Like, there's no reason, especially like this is just one of those like this is such Bungie as normal. Like, hey, we're bringing this up, we're bringing this down. Like, this is, you can copy and paste these patch notes into any other point in the game, and it's basically will be the same thing. Hey, the new hotness, we're gonna nerf a little bit. We're gonna try to buff some things that people aren't using because we nerfed them previously into the earth.
Yeah, what's the guarantee that in maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks that they go, oh, we overdid that. Maybe we'll give it a little bit more ammo. So yeah.
Right, and that's sort of my point too. Is like, the game is not in a normal spot. This is not the time to be, harming anything that people are enjoying playing with. Like, like this reads like, hey, things are sort of normal, things are good. Hey, we're going to adjust this. The new thing's coming out soon. It's like, why are you going to take one of the bright shining points and say, oh, we're going to reduce the base ammo reserve from 18 to 14 and reduce the enhanced ammo per brick from 6 to 5. So again, like they're not tweaking the damage, they're just taking a little bit of the ammo away, which again is not the end of the world. But just like, is there anything that justifies a nerf at this point? Honestly,
and I did vaguely remember them saying on that live stream that they weren't going to. But maybe this has kind of gone past the time that they said they weren't going to nerf things. But for the time being, they weren't going to nerf anything. They were just kind of, we'll see how it goes. Because I'm
guessing until Renegades. Yeah. Right. I have the same thing in my brain. Yeah, I know that we're not going to nerf anything, and I'm sure it's probably like until Renegades, because that feels like probably that's the this is the next big expansion we're getting. But yeah, it just with how everything's going, it doesn't seem like nerfing anything is a good call at this point. But again, it's not a terrible one, and yeah, largely won't affect either of us. So
no.
Now we've got swords. With the slashing behind us, they took some look at the underlying weirdness that has persisted in swords since their inception, way back in the Taken King. So now swords should empty. Now swords, when empty, should perform more like swinging an empty hilt than swinging your fist. So they've reduced the empty sword swing damage. The empty sword swings are no longer scaled by melee buffs, and they fixed an issue where Ascension was activating sword perks. So all losses for us as a community across the board, because the slashing was hilarious to jump up and just slash at things with empty swords and do insane amounts of damage. Bungie, that's a thing. Take some notes. You could bring some events back, based on these bugs. You know what caused them. You could do it again.
But I think they probably worried that they might do something that they can't rectify. But it is funny that it's been fine since the Taken King back in Destiny 1. It's like, did you copy and paste swords across to Destiny 2? Maybe somebody just copied the code. I'm not saying anything.
He just said, "Oh, this has been here for a while. We don't know why. It's fine."
Yeah.
We've
got some exotics now, though.
We do.
So, Ace of Spades, they're increasing the extra PvE damage bonus of Memento Mori from 18 to 30%. That's really cool. Ace of Spades Firefly increased the maximum damage in PvE from 65 to 100, increased the minimum damage in PvE from 0 to 20, increased the area of effect from 6 meters to 7.5 meters, and increased the damage fall off start from 30% of the area of effect to 50%. Will keep full damage for more distance. Cool. I do like a bit of Ace of Spades, especially, PvE. I use it in PvP a few times. I like it. Hawkmoon. I've been killed by that a couple of times in the PvP realm this week. But now in PvE, it's getting a damage bonus per stack of the paracausal charge. It maxes out at 70% at 8 times paracausal charge and does not include the final paracausal shot. Osteostriga. That is going to have a little bit of a buff. So they've reduced the cooldown of the poison burst on the Osteostriga final blow from 4 seconds to 2. So I did see somebody mention this with I think it's Llama. I saw a video from Llama this week where he'd gone over 25 interactions with various different exotics and exotic weapons. And with the new exotic chess piece for the Warlock that's coming, where you can tangle people up and use the Osteostriga Weapons of Sorrow doing like extra damage and things like that. But I'll go over that later. But yeah, Osteostriga looks pretty cool. Surus Regime, it's a solid weapon in PvP, and they want to update it to fit with a role within the weapon-centric builds and give it a bit of quality of life on its mode swap. So it can now be special reloaded at will to swap between spinning up and dual speed receiver behaviours. Added new hipfire reticle elements that correspond with each firing mode. Grants bonus special ammo progress when spun up with spun up kills using spinning up. Grants bonus heavy ammo progression on dual speed receiver kills while ADS. Cool. Revision 0. The Hunter's Trace rounds now create a small damaging shockwave and exhaust targets on impact. Revision 0. That is the pulse rifle, isn't it? That we got from...
Yeah, the pulse rifle that you can use that like alternate firing mode to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So...
Yeah, our pulse sniper rifle.
Yeah, and it's not Hunters, it's just the Hunter's Trace rounds. I think we went over that a couple of weeks ago, that it wasn't specifically for Hunters, it's just called Hunter's Trace rounds. Yeah.
It's for tracing hunters to find them when they're invisible.
Yeah. And with overshields now, with their new exotic. Mm-hmm. Touch of Malice, increase the amount of healing provided by the intrinsic perk and reduce the number of kills needed to trigger the healing in PvE, and activating charge with the Blight now fires a healing impulse. Collective Obligation, which I haven't got because I have to do a raid for that. But they've added a very slow rate of leeching effects of unaffected targets, giving each effect in order of effectiveness with around a full mag of hits per debuff. Volatile equals weaken equals suppression. Yeah, also change the leeching mode at the same rate. So the current version of this requires you or your fire team to provide a source of volatile, weaken, or suppression for the weapon to leech from to get the most out of it, which isn't always practical or feasible with the current viable builds or available artifact perks. So they've relaxed that requirement. So that's what they're kind of changing with this, by adding a very slow rate of leeching debuffs on any damaged target with this weapon. So, cool. Symmetry now builds bolt charges with 1 stack of dynamic charge at alt fire mode. Grants more stacks at 10 times dynamic charge. Now can spend bolt charge with 1 stack of dynamic charge in alt fire mode and increase the base reload stat by 20. Steel Hunt, the sniper rifle that we got from the final shape, that was really good and that nobody now uses. Maybe you use it in raids. I don't use it. I think I used it once, but hey ho. It's going to get. They're going to buff the Steel Hunt's golden gun damage while using Celestial Nighthawk by 40%. Allowed Sniper's Meditation to buff Steel Hunt's golden gun shots. I believe that they nerfed that, didn't they? Originally, they took it down. So this is one of those times that they're bringing it back up. Because I vaguely remember it was one of those things. You put it with Celestial Nighthawk, Golden Gun Hunters, and it was just doing phenomenal. And they went, no, hang on a minute. Let's take that down.
We can't have all of that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was something that got a massive nerf in the past, maybe 40% or thereabouts.
So with a Horde, they don't say this is PvP or PvE, but they just say reduce the silent alarm auto-loading time from 3.5 seconds to 2, which is pretty good. So it just auto-reloads faster.
Lovely.
And
I love the way it
makes a little clinky noise.
Use it.
Yeah. Duality, reduce the hip fire spread by 6%. So that's the shotgun, isn't it? The slug shot one? Well, it's the one that you could ADS, and is it ADS you get slugs and hip fire you get spread shot? Yeah, because it says spread by 6%.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Chaperone.
I've deleted it. My
Chaperone,
collection's
which is a slug shotgun. They changed the Chaperone to use rapid fire slug frame damage and rate of fire profile. Okay, so I'll wait for the Destiny Fun Police video on that to see if he approves of it or if he doesn't.
How is that going to break it weirdly? Find out.
Yeah. Ruinous Effigy, again, a trace rifle that I haven't used for a very long time because it was really good and it did weird things when you kind of got a kill and you picked up the ballie and you could run around with the ballie and kind of protect yourself like in a mobile Titan bubble. And yeah, then they kind of nerfed it. So apparently it's still very niche. And so the catalyst now grants a 30% and 15% in PvP damage buff to trace rifles to the trace rifle when killing anything with the transmutation orb or damaging a mini boss champion with the transmutation orb. So that's that. Yeah, you get a kill, get a little orb, and it's pretty cool. Again, very niche. Izanagi's Burden. The special reload once again scales with the reload speed stat. Again, another one of those things that I think was nerfed or changed because they didn't want people using it kind of to delete bosses. So we're changing it back, which is pretty cool. Tessellation, property undecidable. Final blows now grant 2.5 light and dark transcendent energy and grant bonus time to transcendence while active. Fixed an issue where the transcendence grenade chunk energy gains were not scaling based on the grenade stat. Property irreducible. While transcendence is active, special reload shots now deal 25% more damage when combined with the transcendent damage buff. Special reloading now reloads the magazine from reserve, and you can now special reload while you have 0 ammo in the mag. Okay. Catalyst increased the applied scorch stacks from 15 plus 5 to 70 plus 10, and slow sacks from 30 to 80. Subclass keyword application is now near immediate, though it still does not apply before the primary explosion. And Miscellaneous updated the timing of the reload for Tessellation and Jotun so that the ammo is added to the magazine slightly sooner, properly lining up with the animation. That's a lot of changes for Tessellation. I think I haven't used it for a very long time, so I can't remember.
I have never fired this weapon. I know it was the pre-order bonus for something, and
Yeah,
I don't think I have ever used it. It was a fusion, arc fusion rifle, which, let's see. So property undecidable adapts its damage type to your equipped grenade. Final blows grant grenade energy, and property irreducible.
Oh, is that the one where it consumes the grenade? That's the one.
Okay, yeah. As alternate fire consumes your grenade to load a large projectile that generates an elemental explosion on impact.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from season 22. I have never.
Many people are screaming at us here at this point, going,
"Yeah,
we know what it is, dummies."
Yeah, I remember being a pre-order, and I remember getting it going, why would I ever use this?
Well, because I think it was doing stupid amounts of damage. You could do various different things, couldn't you, on Warlock builds? That you could just delete bosses with consuming the grenade, or it could just completely bypass different mechanics on the weapon. So it came out the gate really hot for the pre-order bonus, and they had to nerf it going into I think it must have been the final shape. I think that was what it was.
So
anyway,
tell us if you remember this weapon exists, because I have never used it. Don't remember the last time I noticed anybody using it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
but they
been a while.
But you remember that it existed and said, let's tweak it some.
Yeah. So Deathbringer, they reduce the spread of the secondary cluster munitions after they are created. Black Talon, heavy attack now suppresses on hit. If the target is already suppressed, it spreads to nearby targets. That's if there's a nearby target to spread to, obviously. Catalyst, on hit gives 10% damage boost per void debuff on the target for 2 seconds. Reduced heavy attacks cost to 3 ammo from 4. Added duelist trance trait. Increase the maximum reserves ammo. Okay, cool. Another sword that I could wield, but I'm not going to because I'm going to have a lightsaber. You've done it now, Bungie. Lightsabers, strongholds, I'm locked in. Deterministic Chaos. New effects. Release the trigger after Vexidecimal Projectiles pulls 12 rounds into the magazine from reserved. Deterministic Chaos. Which one was that? Was that the... Oh, that was a machine gun, wasn't it? With...
Yes. Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Remember.
Problem is, because my vault has been so stacked and I've had to delete exotics and I just pull them from collections, I can't then go to Dim and go, oh, I've got that. I know what that is. So, yeah, I do apologise.
Yeah, no, I'm doing the same thing going, I feels like a machine gun, but yeah, it has not been in my vault for quite some time for the exact same reason, because, yes. Yeah, exotic machine gun, 15% weaken, it does weaken.
Oh, yeah, it's the void one, yeah.
Void machine gun. Every fourth heavy metal projectile also weakens targets on impact. And makes targets become volatile. And
Cool.
and they call it as basically it wasn't different enough. I guess it's sort of a void Thunderlord, and they're like it wasn't really distinct enough from Thunderlord, so we're gonna change it.
No, we had those in Destiny 1. There was two different ones. There was a solar, and then there was a void, and it wasn't called that. It was called something else. But yeah.
Didn't we have one for all three?
Yeah, we had one for each flavor. Yeah, we had Thunderlord, and I'm just looking it up now. Abaddon, which was the solar one, and the void one was Nova Mortis.
Those I do still have in my vault.
Yeah, there you go, in Destiny 1. Worldline 0, definitely a sword. Fixed an issue where the Tesseract was only hitting one instance of damage instead of the usual 5. Increase the damage instance via Tesseract from 5 to 7. 40% damage increase. Reduce the time between these instances from 0.66 seconds to 0.44 seconds. Reduced an issue where the chaining Tesseract was inconsistent if the player had the Worldline 0 catalyst equipped. Reduce the cost of chain Tesseract blinks from 20% sword energy to 10 per something, per chaining thing. So yeah, that's cool. Wolfsbane. They're increasing the damage of the light attack by 8.5%, closer to Lament or aggressive swords. Increased the nano assault duration from 10 seconds to 12, making the tornado feel a little more forgiving. Increased the swarm nado damage by 20%. Retuned axe handles increased the damage resistance on each handle by 5%. Increased the damage resistance linger time from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. And reduce the internal cooldown on subroutine recursions extra nanites from 5 seconds to 2. Adjusted the damage increase when used on afflicted targets to ramp up slightly quicker. Because there's a really cool interaction if you use the Wolfsbane and your teammate has the Outbreak perfected, you can do wicked amount of things. Perks. Rangefinder was nerfed a very long time ago. So ever since Zoom was decoupled from damage fall-off, Rangefinder has no longer fully lived up to its name, and they want to give it some help to hone its range-increasing perk. So now provides 10 range. Okay, cool. Plus 10 range while aiming down sights. Rampage. Rampage is the original damage perk, but has fallen out of favour as more desirable perk options have been added. They want to make Rampage a solid damage perk option that players can pick up and find success with. And to achieve this, they've added some flexibility to the timer. So now loses only one stack of the damage buff when the timer expires. And that includes Huckleberry. Very cool.
Interesting.
Box breathing. Box breathing now provides a flat 40% buff to your next shot's precision damage for all existing weapon types and 30% for the new heavy ammo sniper. This works out to be a buff around 10% for existing snipers and LFRs and a small nerf for scout rifles. I don't really use it on scout rifles, but cool. Yeah. Shot swap. The swap between the benefits are now more poignant, and new values are 0.7 ready speed multiplier, 0.65 enhanced, and previously it was 0.75 and 0.70 enhanced. So they've improved it by 0.5. 0.7 stow speed multiplier and 0.65 enhanced. You now only lose one charge on stow. Previously, you would lose one stow and one on ready, effectively losing 2 every swap. As a result, the maximum number of charges that can be held has been reduced from 8 to 6. This is an effective increase, buffing 6 swaps at 6 charges instead of the previous 4 swaps at 8 charges. The HUD buff no longer appears while stowed. To maintain parity between each other, the Sturm Catalyst received some minor tweaks. So now loses a charge on stow, previously would lose 1 on ready. This should have no negative impact on the number of slots this will benefit. And the HUD buff now only appears while Sturm or a Together Forever weapon is in hand. Sleight of Hand. Increase the duration of the buff to 8.5 seconds, 9 enhanced, from 7 and 7.5 enhanced. You no longer need to swap the weapon within 5 seconds of getting a kill. Instead, the buff timer will activate upon your next swap to the weapon, regardless of how long ago your last kill was. Added a timer to the HUD buff, and fixed an issue where you could potentially lose newly gained stacks if you swapped off the weapon while the buff was still active. Bray Legacy. Increase the gains for rocket launchers from 10 per rocket to 17. No longer activates from explosions caused by perks or from Gallahorn micro missiles. Vice Stinger. Fixed an issue where the Vice Stinger origin trait wasn't working on Vice Fusion rifles or shotguns. Bewildering Blast. Disorientation duration increased from 0.5 seconds to 1 second against players. Enhanced duration increased from 0.7 to 1.25 seconds. Shield Disorient Photo Inhibition. Disorientating grenades and concussion grenades. Fixed an issue where these perks would not apply the disorientating effect to bosses. Ooh. Luckily, that's all they had to share today, but there's much more coming. So yeah, we've got a dev insight dropping every week before Renegade launches on December 2nd.
Yeah, with many more numbers that we try to read through.
Yes,
with varying levels of success. I just it can like I can tell, like, you know, I mean, obviously, like, you know, writing these and sharing these are all team efforts, but it just I even in just some of the single lines where it's like some of it's, you know, taking this from 5 to 10, and some of it is taking this from 10 to 5, and it's like, can we just pick one way to go and you know, report the numbers that way? Because it's very difficult to read sometimes when you're like, okay, is this going up or is this going down? Is this 10 from 5 or are we going from 5 to 10? It's like, can we just pick one?
Well, now would be a good time to have a break if you want to have a break of listening to us, or if you want to continue because you're just mad fools. Then we will continue reading you more information and being excited about what's coming up with Renegades. But I think before that, I'm going to drop in what is happening this upcoming week, because I want to remind people it is the last week of Call to Arms, because they have clarified it is a 2-week event. Although in the database, like I said last week, it looks like the final week there is something called Armsy, or that could happen at the end of next week. Who knows what they decide to do? But next week is definitely a Call to Arms week, and it should be the final week. So check out all the information if you want to kind of get involved in it, because touch wood, they've improved the scoring and they're going to improve other bits of it, so it's going to be viable for you.
If nothing else, I mean, you know, these events are superb times to, you know, focus on a weapon and say, I would like all of these, please. And you will walk out with 50,000 versions of them.
Oh, yeah. The holofoils are, if you attune to a weapon and you just play the event and you're not really concerned about the scores and things, your levels will improve because you will go up in light, and it's staying with Renegades. So whatever you kind of gain now is just going to be transferred into Renegades. You're not going to lose any light. The weapons, the holofoils are dropping very easily from just attuning. I think just playing 2 or 3 of the events, I've had a couple of the holofoils to drop from just kind of clicking on it and going, right, I'll attune to that one. I've had a couple of those, deleted a couple, and it's just been quite fun to actually kind of get the holofoils and from the event, because beforehand I wasn't really getting much from like Solstice, and it'd just be very random. But now it's kind of, because you can attune, it's a good time to jump in. So even if you're not concerned about the rest of the rewards, get in there and just have some fun.
Yeah, and everything, I feel like everything is basically dropping with like 2 and 3 extra things. Like, I mean, looking at it right now, the Coil, Salt Mines, Proving Grounds all have 2 additional drops. Heliostat has 3 additional drops. Cutting Edge Zone Control has, you know, I think currently 1 extra drop, but it has, you know, I feel like every time I look at the menu, it's just everything has extra drops on it. So it is, you've got 5 options to go play for the event, or just go play the rest of the game if you want. But yeah, they are just throwing loot at you head over heels. And yeah, make sure to go to Devrim, and if you say, hey, I'd like some Romantic Death grenade launchers, because I just haven't really got many of those, you will soon be overflowing in Romantic Death grenade launchers, and you will have all of the ones to choose from, and you can have your very
all
favorite
the launchers. Ones. Yeah. So yeah, here's what's happening this week, the week that's coming up in Destiny. This is your weekly rundown for the Edge of Fate, week 19, starting on November 17th. Week 11 of the Asher 9 update brings the final week of the new limited time event Call to Arms, which is free to all players, where players continue to go head to head in several playlist activities to earn high scores, unlock rewards and loot. You can find the Call to Arms on the main portal tab with its own event home, where it has its own exclusive reward pass, with 40 items on its reward track. And playing the event and completing challenges progress your ranks, unlocking exclusive gear and rewards. These include a new exotic weapon ornament for the exotic pulse rifle New Malpaeus, Tier 5 hollow versions of the featured weapons, the Field Alert shader, the Captain's Clash finisher, the Call to Arms projection, a new exotic speeder Streamline Modern, a new exotic ship Chromium 24, and a new exotic ghost shell the Supersonic Shell. Earning high scores for the event will unlock the Unwoven Tangled emblem, a new transmat effect Battlefield Determination, a new shader Battlefield Burnish, the exclusive Seraphim Flame helmet, and the first of the new emblem. Completing daily and weekly event challenges also reward event tokens, which can be used in the Call to Arms reward shop, which has its own gear and rewards. To kick off the event, Guardians must first visit Devon K in the tower, and collect the quest Armament Protocol, which consists of several steps, including completing a Call to Arms Crucible match or solo ops activity. Focused activities include the exotic mission Heliostat, the Coil, the Salt Mines, Proving Grounds, and Cutting Edge Zone Control. Every event activity contributes to your overall event score, which updates every 15 minutes on the in-game Call to Arms board found in the portal home. Devrim also has daily rotating weapons and gear, which players can attune and earn by completing activities, with a chance to receive their holofoil variant. These include the Subversion Combat Bow, the Romantic Death Grenade Launcher, the Folded Root Rocket Launcher, the Ribbon-Tail Trace Rifle, the Synaxia Sword, Venutia Fera Hand Cannon, and the Trachinus Shotgun. Devrim is also importing daily shipments that feature powerful gear from different activities. And additionally, Devrim has also arranged for new cutting-edge procurements to be delivered to those who participate in the Call to Arms, in the form of Lawless Vouchers. These vouchers contain a random assortment of new Season 28 gear and other goodies, designed to help you get a head start in Renegades. Call to Arms also features a new seal and title to unlock called Vanguard. Chance to complete are Mortal Coil, Ground Proof, Deep in the Zone, Nice and Salty, Helio There, Heated Harmonies, Loot Grabber, Track Star, and Ultimately Armed. Call to Arms runs into the reset on November 24th, 2025. In the Portal Crucible Ops this week will be Competitive, Control, and Cutting Edge Zone Control, with Trials of Osiris at the weekend. Other non-featured modes of 3v3 Dominion and 6v6 Momentum Control can be found over on the Crucible Director. In the Solo Ops we have Skywatch, the Salt Mines, the Conflux, Creation, K1 Logistics, and Caldera. In the Fireteam Ops we have the 3 new Reclaim missions, Cabal's Watch, Conductor's Keep, and Fallen Bunker, Battlegrounds Behemoth, and Episode Echo's Core, 3 additional strikes of Hypernet Current, Insight Terminus, and Fallen Saber, 3 expeditions from Season of Plunder, Nessus, Cosmodrome, and Europa. We also have the strikes of Liminality, the Devil's Lair, Proving Grounds, the Inverted Spire, and the Glassway. Battlegrounds Oracle, Foothold, Delve, and Conduit, Empire Hunts the Warrior, Technocrat, and Dark Priestess, with Savathun Spire Offensive. In the Pinnacle Ops we have the 3 dungeon layers, Pit of Heresy beneath the Necropolis, Duality Nightmare of Goron, and Warlord Ruin Heaven's Vengeance. The new exotic mission Heliostat with the Wolfsbane exotic axe as the main reward. Move from Fireteam Ops we have Onslaught Widow's Call and Midtown, Episode Revenant Contest of Elders with the Coil. Exotic missions Presage with the Dead Man's Tale exotic scout rifle being the main reward, the Season the Haunted, and opulent weapon sets, plus the Idolian Pursuant armor set. Node Override Avalon with Excalibur exotic glaive being the main reward, and the Season the Defiance weapon set. Starcrossed with the Wishkeeper exotic bow being the main reward, and the Season the Wish weapon set. The Whisper with the Whisper of the Worm exotic sniper being the main reward, Kel's Fall with the Slayer's Fang exotic shotgun being the main reward, and Encore with the Choir of One auto rifle being the main reward. On Kepler, featured mission 1 this week will be the Invitation, and featured mission 2 will be Gouge. As we've had all of our seasonal challenges over the first 9 weeks of Ashen Iron, here's your reminder to make sure you've collected all your missing data pads, stunned all those champions, and calibrated those weapon challenges. Because if you complete 42 out of the 46, you can get a large pile of bright dust to spend at the Eververse store in-game. For our Legacy rotation, the Dreaming City this week is at a weak curse level, which means Petrovenge can be found in the Strand, and has the Broken Courier mission for the next week. The Blind One features Scorn enemies and the Plague, Sigrus and Varicus. The Ascendant challenge will be the Agonon's Abyss over in the Baildred Wishes Lost sector. On the Moon, the weekly story mission is Beyond. The Trove Guardian is located in Archer's Line, while the Wandering Nightmare is the Nightmare of Zoltal in Sorrow's Harbour. Nightmare hunts Crota, Despair, Omnigul, Anguish, and Fanatic Insanity. The Altars of Sorrow will start this week's rotation with the Nightmare of Tanix and the Apostate Sniper. On Europa this week, Corodis the Dark Priestess will be the Empire Hunt, Eventide Runes will be the Eclipse Zone, and the Exo challenge will be Survival. Dares of Eternity expert difficulty rounds are Kabul, Taken, and Crota. The Scatterhorn armor set and the Lightkin armor set will be available in Dares of Eternity with Weapon Set 3. Chroma Rush, Ignition Code, Grid Skipper, Farewell, Sonja's Tale, Shattered Cipher, Main Ingredient, Long Shadow, Last Dance, Toil and Trouble, Wishbringer, and Last Perdition. The Witch Queen Weekly Story mission is The Cunning, Altar of Reflection's Choice, and Altar of Reflection's Insight. The Wellspring activity will start the week on Defense, with the Arc Grenade Launcher, Tarnation, and Vazul Solar Scorn Chieftain as the boss. The Lightfall Weekly mission is Breakneck, the Partition mission will be Backdoor, and the Vex Incursion will be Zephyr Concourse. In the Pale Heart, the exotic mission Dual Destiny is still available for teams of 2 Guardians, where you can farm the mission to earn as many new prismatic exotic class items as you like. The 12th Guardian Matchmade Excision mission is also available, with the Grandmaster version granting the Ergo Sum Catalyst and an Ascendant Shard. The Lost Sector rotation for this week will start with Veil's Labyrinth on the Cosmodrome, Aphelios Rest on the Dreaming City, Skydock 4 in the EDZ, Concealed Void on Europa, K1 Logistics on the Moon, Thrillodrome on Neptune, The Conflux on Nessus, Metamorphosis on the Throne World, and The Broken Deep in the Pale Heart. With the Edge of Fate, all raids and all challenges are now available all the time, and at present there are also no featured raids or dungeons each week, and the Ashen Iron update now allows you to farm past raids and dungeons for their respective exotic weapons, with no weekly lockouts. The new raid, the Desert Perpetual over on Kepler, has now been updated with a normal and epic version, with both dropping Tier 3 plus loot, with a chance of the exotic rocket launcher Whirling Ovation to drop. The Sundered Doctrine dungeon can be found over on the Throne World, with the exotic linear fusion rifle Finality Zaga up for grabs. The exotic mission rotator will be Presage, with the Dead Man's Tale exotic scout rifle being the main reward. The Season the Haunted, and opulent weapon sets, plus the Idolian Pursuant armor set. The exotic missions, the Whisper and Zero Hour will also be available in the Legends tab. And that's it for the 11th week of Ashen Iron. So welcome back, and we are now jumping straight into the TWAB for this week, the 13th of November. And Bungie have just kind of, as we said at the opening, they've hit the ground running this week with information and trailers. We've got a trailer for the dungeon, the Equilibrium dungeon. And they don't normally reveal the name of these things until we kind of literally on top of it. But we've got the reveal of the name, where it's going to be, what potential reward we're going to kind of get from it. And I'm excited. I don't know if I want to kind of spoil this for people, but I'm going to keep quiet for a couple of seconds.
Turn away now. This is your last chance. Turn away now. Press the skip forward on your podcast player, a couple of seconds. And then you might be safe.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Star Warsy, so Noble, you're fine. Just, it looks like, right, in the trailer, we get the dark saber from Star Wars. Now, this is the black lightsaber, and if you'd watched any of the kind of Mandalorian or the Ahsoka show on Disney Plus, you'd be quite familiar with what the dark saber is, or even if you've done Clone Wars and things. So yeah, it's just, that's quite exciting. That there's, I don't know whether that's going to be a heavy sword or whether that's just going to be a variant of the lightsabers that we're kind of getting in the primary ammo slot, or the kinetic slot. But yeah, the dungeon looks very cool, and I like the fact that we're kind of keeping with the theme of Star Wars, and just even from like the picture on the trailer banner from like on YouTube, it looks like Yavin 4, where you're going into like the Yavin 4 base, and there's Guardians with lightsabers as well. It looks pretty cool. I think you're going to start on the ground somewhere and end up being in a ship that's floating above, a bit like a Star Destroyer. So yeah, and we've got a raid race for it. And Evan F 1997 and CB Grey are back again I think this is about the third or fourth hosting of on the Bungie Twitch channel, doing like the reveal stuff or the pre stuff, and then going through interviews with people, and then just actually following the raid race or dungeon race.
I mean, they seem to be our go-to hosts for these new dungeon races we're doing.
Yeah. They're very good hosts as well. I mean, they do keep up the hype for it. I mean, only tuning in for like just getting the emblems before, I'm like, I like you guys. You really you're keeping my attention and getting the hype building for these kind of dungeons and these raids. So they're a pretty good team. But again, like we had with the world's first for the raid recently, there's going to be restrictions on the fact that you have to stream YouTube, Twitch, or Bilibili. You have to set it onto a video on demand. There you can do the thing with, like we had before, with blocking your screens, like portions of your screens, but you have to use the Bungie official kind of screen blockers. So yeah, you can basically stream it without blocking it if you want to. Game audio must always be on at all times, but players may mute their own voices. The stream team member must fill out the contact form before 9 a.m. PT on December 13th.
Yep. Basically, same thing as before. You need to stream, you can't hide it. Hey, there's a whole thing to apply, da-da-da. If you're interested, you know what to do. And if not, then they've told you, here's what you have to do.
Yeah. And we'll link all that in our show notes if you want to kind of click on that, or it's in the TWAB. So there you go. But we are getting a change to stuff that's coming in Renegades. They've listened to the feedback from the players, and they say, you know what, we've heard you, and you say that you want to be engaged, and you're upset that we took out the Grandmaster Nightfalls. So we're technically going to give them back to you, and we're going to call it something new called Vanguard Alerts. So they have an engagement team, and they're going to talk about the new feature aimed at reigniting a Destiny 2 ritual. So say hello to Vanguard Alerts, coming in week 2 of Renegades. So we'll get Renegades, we'll do the story stuff, then we get the Vanguard Alerts. So, Peroty, Vanguard Alerts, what are they?
They're Bungie's mistake of saying, hey, we took out a thing you enjoyed, and now we're going to put the thing back in that you enjoyed, and that should make you happier, we hope.
And change the name, obviously.
Oh, of course. I mean, we can't just call them the same thing. That would be silly.
Yeah.
So, in the activities we have, to complete the Vanguard Alerts, you're going to open your seasonal hub, go to your new Vanguard Alerts tab. You can view the playlist and activities for the week, see the rewards, and view the activity challenges. They rotate weekly, so every week should feel like a new challenge is awaiting you and your friends. So again, just like we used to have with the good old days of logging into the game and having fun.
No, but they're going to improve on it. They're going to have Grandmaster Vanguard Alerts, and the Desert Perpetual Raid, as well as the upcoming Renegades dungeon, is going to be in there.
So we're gonna have Vanguard Alert, Vanguard Arena Alert, and Crucible. Set activities. We're gonna have a new 6-player PvE arena op that are fast, uncomplicated to complete, and have preset modifiers. They're best for players who just want to relax and play some PvE while still earning some great rewards. Yes, Bungie, this is exactly what we want. Give us more of this. We want to turn on the game. We want to have a good time, and then be done, and then just have a good time with it.
Yeah.
Our Grandmaster Vanguard Alert for, if you want a challenge, there are many challenges. There are more difficult activities where you and your fire team can test your metal and your newly acquired rewards and power level, rotating weekly. Grandmaster Vanguard Alert should take slightly longer, offer great rewards for your time and effort. They are harder than usual Grandmaster activities you might find elsewhere in the portal. Think of them as a Grandmaster Nightfalls of old. So and thank you for calling the Grandmasters and not giving them some new
Ultimate
name,
Masters, the Ultimate Nightfalls,
right, some new version that I then have to go and learn and figure out what to call them. Just hey, we've had this before, we'll have it again. Just give me what call them something recognizable to us who have been here for a while.
Yeah, I mean, they do say that the Vanguard Ops players should feel similar to the Vanguard Ops players and the Grandmaster Nightfalls of old. So, and their goal is to bring us back, feeling that Destiny 2 is still Destiny 2, and they're going to put it in the portal. And I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Where is the Sunless Cell Strike? That disappeared from when we had the Dreadnought back before the Edge of Fate. and now it seems to be coming back in this kind of seasonal hub. So that's pretty cool that the Sunless Cell is coming back as a Grandmaster. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice to see that back because you just brought it into the game and then said, nope, just kidding, we're going to take it away from you again because we want you to be sad. So yeah, Sunless Cell's coming back, and I like on the screenshot it just says it's a surprise as far as the rewards go. I'm sure they're just not. I'm sure it won't be a surprise in the game. They'll actually have what we're getting, but I appreciate it's a surprise in the little screenshot. They're going to add dungeons and raids. So we've included dungeons and raids in Vanguard Alerts to give you easy access to these activities. The Renegades dungeon and the Desert Perpetual have weekly challenges, and they'll grant rewards for their corresponding reward pool. And more,
very nice.
More as a surprise. So yeah, I mean this. Not to be a little bit like, hey guys, remember what we enjoyed? This looks very similar to the hey, weekly complete activities in this playlist. 1 of 3 challenges, complete activities in this playlist. So go play the thing. For your Fireteam Vanguard Alert. Go play the thing. This looks very similar to a pre-Portal world. And whether that was the plan all along or not, I could not tell you. But this seems like giving us back what we wanted. And we're going to have rewards because we wouldn't be doing any of this if there weren't a reason for it. So they wanted to be a place where you start your week in Destiny 2, so its rewards have been designed to accommodate that. So each week, our Vanguard, Arena Ops, and Crucible alerts will offer multi-stage challenges with rewards and XP granted for each stage completed. The weapons you earn from completing each stage will be Tier 3 or above based on your account power, and among the highest power drops you can earn in Destiny 2. On top of that, they are your primary source for seasonal weapons featuring the Accelerated Assault Origin trait, which loads a small amount of ammo to the weapon after dealing sustained damage. Crucible alerts will offer Crucible weapons, specifically. And additionally, once each week, you can earn the following bonus rewards for completing the first stage in each alert category. So we're going to have, for Vanguard Alert, you're going to get 50 Chronologs. Your Arena Ops will get 50 Bright Dust. And Crucible will also give you 50 Bright Dust. You can repeat the playlist activities and receive regular rewards based on the score with random chance of getting another seasonal weapon with the extra origin trait. Completing Grandmaster Vanguard alerts with a B grade or higher will reward 1 pinnacle weapon with the Accelerated Assault Origin trait and bonus XP. Completing the Desert Perpetual raid and Renegades Dungeon Weekly Challenge will grant a seasonal bonus powerful gear reward from either activity. So yeah,
cool.
Do the hard thing, get the reward from it.
These things, I mean, it does just sound like panic mode. Not being horrible to Bungie, but it does sound like panic mode of like they've listened to the feedback from many months now of kind of what did people actually enjoy doing. Well, they enjoyed doing the Nightfall, so we've got to give them Nightfall. So it's a bit like when they took out the Rumble playlist from Crucible. It was like the amount of backlash that they got for that. It was like, okay, well, we need to put this back in. We need to put it in kind of now. But I think the problem is that they didn't have anywhere to kind of put the raids and the dungeons beforehand. They could have kind of slapped them in the Pinnacle thing, but it wouldn't have made sense. So maybe they've had to create this kind of extra part to the portal with this seasonal hub and these the Vanguard alerts, so that you can still go and play your Crucible. It's a bit like what we've kind of got now with the events. I feel that it's just going to be one of those extra tabs that's going to be in that portal section. Again, just it still seems quite complicated to kind of get to all the different things, because I mean at the moment you play Call to Arms, and the Call to Arms thing is over on the left hand side, but then you've got your actual seasonal hub over in the right hand corner, and they both do very similar things. So I think with this, there's just going to be another part to kind of tab into. But it is good that they're kind of bringing things back, especially like the Sunless Cell. There are other Nightfalls and Grandmaster Nightfalls that we would like to get back. And if it's things that aren't actually in the game on the Director that could be ported in, that we used to be able to play, like some of the strikes that we had on IO or even Mercury, come back into the seasonal hub would be really good. And especially if they're rotating weekly, which is, I think, a feature that a lot of people missed, especially kind of me doing the rotation videos. It was like the rotations have kind of slowly gone out of Destiny, and it's like, well, we do have like the legacy rotations of like the Dreaming City and the stuff that happened on the moon and the stuff that happens on the Throne World, but it's like we used to have the rotating challenges for the dungeons. I think people missed out on that. Is that it felt good to kind of 1 week it would be that specific challenge for that raid each week, or if it was the featured raid or the 2 featured raids for that week, all the challenges would be up. And I think those kind of rituals that kind of went on in Destiny are the things that kind of people have slightly missed, because when you put it up all the time, like it is at the moment, you can go and play any of the raids now and kind of do any of the challenges. It's like, but people don't want to play it because it's not part of that portal system. You put it in the portal system, you put it on a rotation, and I think the engagement would then kind of come back, especially with people coming into the game. They'd see it like, oh, this is something new and or something I can kind of go and do. But yeah, it's pretty cool, I think, for that.
Yeah. I mean, it has been such a hallmark of Destiny from the beginning is you would go and sort of plan your plan your week around what's up, or every Tuesday, hey, things, we have a fresh new batch of stuff. We have Tuesday reset. I mean, it's a thing for a reason of, hey, this is a new set of stuff to do. And the portal really just went opposed to everything we're used to as Destiny players and Destiny veterans. And I mean, and whether this is Bungie sort of panicking, going, oh, we really need to get our game back on track, which I'm sure that's some of it. Yeah. Or just, or giving them a little bit of benefit of the doubt, going, okay, well, they, if the portal had launched and power progression had been enjoyable, was this the plan all along of putting this in at this point? Would we have gotten this 6 months ago if they hadn't had to spend so much time, basically, hot fixing the game and going, oh, things are real bad. We need to make things playable, and then we can have people, do what we wanted to do. Yeah. But either way, I think it's a win. I mean, it's getting us back to what we want out of this game. We want to sit down. We want to have a good time. We want to play with our friends. We don't want to sit here and, if you want to manufacture your super hard challenge and do this, there are so many options for that. You have a wealth of options. But if I just want to come home after a long day and play my video game, this is a return to that. This feels familiar. It doesn't feel like being a Destiny veteran is no longer no longer means anything, because I'm looking at my game going, I don't recognize any of this.
I mean, that is definitely one thing that I've kind of missed over the years of playing Destiny, because me and my friends would always get on Destiny 1 and do the Nightfall. We would do that Nightfall. We would get that blue crown on our heads on each character. Then we would then go and tackle the raids. We would see if we could go and get the exotics that were very scarce back then. You didn't have exotics dropping all the time, or just you'd get an exotic for just doing an activity. It's like they were so scarce, and I think that's what kept people kind of coming back and back and back. It's like you would log on, and even if you got the exotic that week, you would log on and help your friend the next week, or help teams kind of go and do like the raids and Nightfalls to get. These were the only place you could go and get those exotics from. So there was that kind of
like reason to play, and sort of like
rituals and
your ritual around logging in and doing something, even if what you were logging to do each week maybe isn't the same, but just having that ritual around. Okay, I mean, how many times have we started something on a weekend and said, oh, is there a chance we can try to finish this out before Tuesday reset? Doing something on a Friday night saying, hey, can we get back together on Saturday or Sunday to try to finish this out? I still think back to just the number of times we sat, before they sort of adjusted the reset times to be more in the middle of the day for a lot of us, playing trials until the wee hours of the morning, trying to inch out another win or inch out another drop until like, for us, it was like that 5 a.m. reset. Yeah. And just trying to get every ounce of the game we could, just going, let me see if I can just hit a couple, if I can finish this run, if we can not, finally beat this raid boss, do this last thing before reset. And it's like, it's like there's, and I think that's something I hadn't quite put my finger on, but with the portal, there just isn't like, I know things are kind of rotating, but it doesn't really feel like it. It just sort of feels like here's the same activities up all the time. So I could play them this week, I could play them next week, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because there's no urgency for it. There's no, you had to be there when, or, this is up only now, and that's that we have with the weekly events. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping, this is Bungie going, we built a successful game. We knew how to build a successful game. Let's get back to that. Give the players what they want.
Well, speaking of what they want, they are looking for feedback. So they're working on further improvements to the Vanguard Alerts, and they're going to share that as soon as possible. In the meantime, they can share that they are looking into adding legacy content, including raids and dungeons, to the weekly rotations, and finding permanent locations for the Vanguard Alerts in the portal, as well as expanding the activities and rewards offering in future updates. So the version launching in the next few weeks is the foundation, and they want us to help determine what to build into it kind of next. So on Twitter and Blue Sky or X or whatever it is, use hashtag Vanguard Alerts and tell them, what legacy activities you want to see included in the Vanguard Alerts. What activities do you miss? What would you like to see run again? Like solo or fire team, basically. And where would you expect to find the Vanguard Alerts in the portal? And they understand that the seasonal home isn't the most convenient, and they want them to be easy to access. So they look forward to hearing from us about these Vanguard Alerts. And I mean, I can tell you a couple of things off the top of my head. Menagerie, Sundial, the strikes that I've mentioned on IO, the strikes that I've mentioned on Mercury, anything that you kind of took out the game that you could kind of put back in that we could play. I mean, I think there was even another, we've got the strike on Mars, the Zol strike. There's so many little things that you could kind of put back in and just put it in there on a rotation. People would be so excited if it was only up for 1 week on a rotation of things kind of coming back. I'm telling you now, Bungie, we would.
Really would. Yeah. I mean, there's so much content in this game that you've taken away. And this should be a reason to put it back in.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, Menagerie, again, I'd be curious. I know among our community and people we talk to, like Menagerie, for those who played it, that was just a shiny example of one of the best match-made activities Bungie's ever done. Because it was, every time you walked in, you felt successful. Every time you walked in, you got something from it. Every time you walked in, there was success. There was, you could fail, but failing was just getting lesser rewards. Failing wasn't, oh, I've spent 45 minutes on this run and I've got nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much stuff you could bring back. Just please bring it back. This is our hashtag request to you.
Well, something is returning, and that's the Bungie Bounty for Good. And it's that time once again, Guardians, that the Bungie Bounty for Good is back, and they're switching things up and hosting the bounty on Monday. So you might not get to it before this kind of comes out, but yeah, 12 p.m. PT on the 17th. So when this comes out, I think so. I'm sorry if you missed it. They should have told us last week. I'm sure they did tell us last week, didn't they?
They probably did. I feel like at this point there's a Bungie bounty like every week for everything, which is, I mean, to be fair, there's good stuff going on all the time. But yeah. So that's happening. So either glad you enjoyed it, glad you got your emblem, or didn't. Don't know what to tell you.
No. Oh, you do know what to tell them.
I do. There's a
player support report.
Ooh. Yeah, we've got known issues. So, there's not the most known issues. We've gone away from our laundry list and, individual headings.
Okay.
So we have player characters that are still have the Testament of Strength quest from Iron Banner and are unable to progress the Armament Protocol quest to fully unlock Call to Arms. I saw a number of people talking about that going, I have an Iron Banner quest that I can't discard or progress or do anything with, and it's preventing me from playing. Basically going to Devrim and doing one thing. And also people saying, hey, the game was telling me to go play Iron Banner, which is not up. Which they've patched for some people, but obviously haven't patched for all people. I
will tell you, Bungie, the way to have got around this is to, have an Iron Banner before Call to Arms. Just throwing it out there. If it was there beforehand, you could have said, "Hey, look, go do this because this will block your Armament Protocol quest next week." Just saying.
Even the game is telling you, Bungie, you need to have more Iron Banners. Even Destiny itself is saying you need to have the Iron Banners, otherwise people can't play the rest of the game. Iron Banner is important. Yeah. So if you're, they did do the patch that should have fixed if you're being asked to play Iron Banner, that should be resolved. But if you still have the quest you can't deal with, they did push a patch, so it should be fixed for people, but obviously isn't fixed for everyone. So good luck. May the call to arms ever be in your favor, or may this be an event you can't participate in because you simply can't play it at all. Good luck. Because until you do that quest, it basically doesn't unlock anything but the salt mines and PvP. I think those are the.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think it was just the salt mines and then the cutting edge zone control. You cannot play Coil Proving Ground and Heliostat until you complete that quest. And if you can't complete the quest, you can't do 3/4 of the event, which doesn't make for a very good event. So yeah. Also, the high scores for Crucible Zone Control are not updating again after players have posted an initial score. So hope you did well on your first try, because that's your only try currently. Some Xbox players are reporting game performance issues when inspecting or holding holofoil variations of Ribbontail, the trace rifle. So I simply never use it, so I have noticed nothing. But if you have it and you're on Xbox, maybe that's why. Put the Ribbontail down. Don't hold it. Don't look at it. Put it in a corner. Don't think about what it's done, and then maybe they'll fix it at some point. Maybe take the holofoil variant off or use a different variant. I know we had the bug before with holofoil things acting up.
Yeah, especially on Xbox.
Yeah. Hey, the coil is not giving players additional revive tokens, causing it to be more difficult to complete than intended. Remember what I was saying about doing an activity for a long time and getting nothing from it? Yeah, the coil looking at you. Combatants protected by shield drones do not always lose their immunity after all drones have been destroyed. As a potential workaround, well, they just took it out of the game entirely, which is what they should have.
Yeah.
But some players have reported hitting these enemies with supers may kill them through their immunity, though it has not been directly confirmed. So you can maybe fix one of our bugs with a different bug, but we just took it out because it was so buggy it was making things unplayable and very difficult to get through. And then finally, the Tier 5 call to arms weapons can drop with visual issues, causing them to incorrectly display as a Tier 6 weapon. These drops will be corrected to display their intended Tier 5 state in a future update.
Yeah, we're not releasing Tier 6 just yet. Maybe that's another emergency button later on down the line.
I'm really, like, how... That's one of those things, it's like, how does that happen? I just, like, do we have some Tier 6 artwork that we just pushed accidentally? How do we get an extra tier showing up on things? Wild. And then we have Beyond Paint. Someone has done Beyond Light in MS Paint, which is just its own achievement. That's certainly a thing you could do. Okay. And then we're not out here carrying the team, but someone's out here carrying the team.
Is it a warlock? I think it's a warlock.
Yeah, I was like hard to tell because the vertical video is cropped out all of the character everything, so I couldn't tell what kind of prismatic they were doing. Yeah, but you can ride the Sherpa Express, choo-choo, and ride your way to victory. So yeah, again, we're not carrying people, but some people out here are carrying people.
So another week has passed, and they've got a lot of more exciting stuff coming up ahead of the following Renegades launch in December. And they continue to keep everyone updated on the upcoming dungeon race, new sandbox armor tuning updates they're excited to share with us all. So that's what's coming next week. Whether we get that in the TWAB or if we get it as a kind of separate thing, anything we've talked about this week will be linked in our show notes.
Yeah.
Apart from what I was just going to mention, there were two things that have kind of come up this week that news related that I want to kind of drop in here. One was Sony getting quite upset with what they paid for Bungie overall, that they're kind of at a loss. There was another earnings call this week. A lot of content creators have kind of covered this, that Bungie were kind of in hot water, that they kind of overestimated their sale and things like that. And it was like, okay, yeah, kind of get it. We saw that as players. Mm-hmm. Sony are a bit late to kind of catch on to this.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, I think they bought Bungie both for Destiny 2, but I think they also bought them because they said, you can teach us how to make live service games. Because I mean,
Yeah.
when this was all going down, I mean, which has been, what was it? I think the acquisition 2022, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah. Something like that.
Live service games was the future, and Sony was going to roll out all these live service games and make all this live service money because that was the future. And as it turns out, it's very hard to replicate a quality live service game, as seen by Sony failing over and over to replicate a live service game. And even obviously there's more than just, there's more live service games in Destiny 2, but there's not a lot of successful ones. Destiny 2, World of Warcraft, Borderlands 4. Apparently, I saw something about a weekly reset for that. I'm like, is that a live service game? Like, I don't even.
It is now.
Like, okay, sure.
But the thing is, when Bungie get it right, they get it right, and they keep players engaged, and they keep us playing. And I think they've even admitted this week that they took a giant leap in the wrong direction, that they're now kind of course correcting back to the old ways, and still having some new stuff in Destiny, but it's going to take a while, and it is slowly going to get there, but we're going to get there.
Yeah, took a big bold leap, and the problem with big bold leaps is sometimes you're wrong, which they've acknowledged, and that's, I mean, and I think that's the other thing that Sony had this big vision for there's all this, it was almost more of an acqui-hire, like, we want the expertise of how you've built this game and had it running for so long. But the thing is, again, as we're all, those of us who are locked into a live service game, how many other games are you really playing? If you're playing Destiny, if you're playing, Warframe, if you're playing, your long-term game of choice, how many other games are you really spending time with? I mean, if no one has time for multiple live service games in their life unless they're doing this full time. Unless your 40-hour-a-week job or more is playing video games. If I'm playing Destiny, I'm not out here keeping up with any other live service games. There's just no time to do that.
Yeah.
So I just think I think they learned a lot of lessons from, again, the pandemic, when everybody had to be home. So of course everybody was online, everybody was playing games, everybody was doing this. And now that people can go outside again and the economies are all terrible, you planned for a glorious future that was not going to persist and did not persist. And so, of course, and on top of Bungie taking a big swing and a miss, going, the portal, it's going to be great. Well, turns out everybody hated that.
Yeah.
So, you bought a thing. The thing didn't pan out. You have buyer's remorse now.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo.
But hopefully it gets better. But the other thing that's kind of come to light, I believe it was only yesterday, that the court case that Bungie were kind of fighting about the Red War campaign has kind of been concluded. Bungie have settled outside of court, so that normally means that they've come to some arrangement. There must have been some kind of truth to Bungie pinching parts of story to create the Red War campaign, and because there was a lot of kind of controversy, wasn't there, like them trying to use YouTube clips and content creator clips to say, we did this, because we don't actually have this anymore. It's been deleted because we can't get back to it because we've actually deleted it from our game, and loads of issues. And it was because they couldn't prove 100% that it was their kind of property and nothing to do with this guy that was suing them, and they've just gone, look, we'll pay you, and rather than kind of drag it through the courts, and we'll end up paying more that way. But
right,
it does kind of ask questions, doesn't it? Whether there was any truth to the stealing of this story for Destiny 2.
Yeah, and it's just wild. I mean, again, the headline that came out where they were like, where Bungie had to resort to using content creator YouTube footage because they could not produce the Red War campaign, in game or in a development environment. They could not say, here is the Red War campaign as it existed. Just here's the Red War campaign as someone taped it home, basically. It would be like saying, hey, this movie sold parts of my story. Well, can I see the movie? Well, no, I don't have the movie. Oh, but we could do someone taped it off, someone taped it off TV at some point, and I can show you that.
Yeah.
Like that just feels insane. That like they just can't produce this again. It's like, nope, sorry. It's when they say it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
When it goes into the vault, there's no coming back out of the vault. That's on a vault.
I think given the recent history of Bungie being accused and in some places found to be using other people's content for their content, and like even like was it the artwork for the Ace of Spades for one thing, and
there's
Marathon. There's been
there's
many different things where a little bit of plagiarism may have taken place.
There is a pattern, I'll say, of borrowing content. Now, again, I mean, I know there's, and this is all. I mean, again, I don't know that obviously the nitty gritty of all this. Like, some of this is, similar things. Again, people being inspired by things and whatever. But there's some of this is just. So no, I mean this is exactly this is I mean the marathon thing especially was just egregious. Like this is very clearly this person's style and work, and it's it doesn't surprise me that Bungie looks like settled out of court, or settled without it going to trial, so there wouldn't be a prolonged trial and have to pay more legal fees to prove that to prove something that you can't even show people because you don't have it. Like that's the part that's most wild to me. It's just the Red War campaign is dead. There's no, it's not sitting anywhere. They're not working on it. It's gone. That content is gone forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad you saw that. Yeah. I had seen people talking about it, but I hadn't seen anything on it. So yeah.
Well, I mean, if I find anything useful, I think there were a couple of articles that I kind of half looked at, but if I have a quick read through today and there are any kind of use for people to kind of check out, I'll link them in the show notes.
Sounds good.
But we do have our final post from Destiny and from Bungie this week, going over the Renegades content calendar. So in September, they shared a live stream outlining our plans between Ash and Iron and the launch of Destiny 2 Renegades, including plans for the upcoming features and roadmap for what's ahead. Since then, they've implemented many changes based on player feedback from the Edge of Fate and leading into Renegades. As they continue to act on our feedback, we're taking additional time to craft our long-term strategy for the future of Destiny before they share a full state of the game and multi-year roadmap next year. So we're not going to get anything until after the Christmas break, basically in January, I'd say mid-January, possibly. That's at a guess, because by the time people have come back and they're kind of doing stuff, and if there's any kind of updates that also need to be done, because we've got events that are going on through Christmas, and then you've got the big Christmas break. And I think last year they took 3 weeks break, I believe. I think that we had 3 weeks where we didn't have like a TWAB, but there were still people working there, but there wasn't kind of any information kind of coming out of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Team's jamming, but they're not telling us what they're jamming on because they're just trying to get things done.
Yeah.
And we do have the holiday event that needs to work.
Yeah. So in the short term, they want to provide a preview of changes coming to Destiny 2 with Renegades and update 5.0.1 that goes live the week after the launch. So the team has been focused on continuing to make improvements to the power and progression, quality of life updates, and the start of the new weekly ritual alongside brand new activities and systems with Renegades. So they have provided a lot of graphics with this. So where they are at the moment, 9.1.0, we've had portal reward increase, the powerful drop returning, tier 5 drop rate increase, and new weekly raid challenges. So that was back then. So this week we've had 9.1.5.5. I believe that was the one, wasn't it, this week? No, 9.1.5.5. So it's a slight increment in what we're kind of doing. So that further improves portal rewards. They've had weekly Edge of Fate campaign challenges, the power adjustment removed from challenge modifiers, further portal power increase, and catch-up chest. So there's been a catch-up chest that was next to Zavala, and I believe that is still there. I think I pointed Noble in the direction of that this week because he was getting back on to do various different things. So,
Yeah.
and he wants to come back and play some more, which is good. So I've had a good positive influence on bringing him back to the game,
Ooh.
I think.
Yeah. and yeah, I mean, the catch up chest definitely helps. Yeah. So so if you have been taking a break and you have been looking at Renegades going, that looks good, but I don't want to start from, 10 power level, you can walk into the game, go see Zavala. There's a chest of full 300, armor and weapons. So if you are below 300, that'll push you immediately there. You don't have to worry about anything else. So that'll at least get you to a point where you're able to move on and able to, progress everything.
Yeah. And I did hear a kind of a tip or a trick for any returning players. Because there's going to be a buff or a boon for returning players going into Renegades, if you want to kind of jump on now and do a catch up with some of what's kind of going on and get this chest that's with Zavala, play up until the point where you get to, I think it's level 29 on the season pass. Don't go any further, because if you go any further, you won't get the buff that's coming to returning players with Renegades when that launches on the 2nd of December. When you do get that, if you stop on the, I'd say 29, I think it's 30, but I'd say 29 just to be sure. Then when Renegades kind of launches, you will get a buff to all your kind of your power and your progression and stuff that you're kind of getting. And you can also then play with existing players and also pass on a buff to them for kind of helping you out. So there is a benefit for returning players if you kind of want to return and just do a little bit before Renegades launches.
See our show from last week for all the details on that, where they went over it in that TWAB.
Yeah. But with Renegades launching, that will bring 9.5.0, and that will bring the campaign for Renegades, Lawless Frontier Activity, Exotic Mission, New Dungeon Equilibrium, new weapons, so that's the blasters, new exotic Praxic Blade, seasonal power carryover, all exotic weapons and armor featured. So again, we've already been over that any exotic armors will now kind of be, I think the feature thing has just been removed. So you can just use exotic armor, or it's all just kind of featured now. And that's going to be fantastic, because I think a lot of people were complaining with having our exotic class items, you can't use those with your prismatic builds, because it just made no sense. Because if you were using something that had locked loadout, or the avant-garde, or if it was the one where you just have to use like cutting edge, you couldn't use your builds in those things. So that's a pretty good change. Also, the Edge of Fate featured gear continues. So anything that is you've kind of earned up until this point, because it's got that little blue tick of approval, the little blue square on the items, so that's weapons and gear, will still be viable in Renegades. So again, another win. The biggest win that I saw was vault space increasing. So we're going to get an extra 300 places in our vault. Thank you, Bungie. It's so much better than the 100 that we got. Must have been about 3 years ago now. We went from 600 to 700, and they were like, "Oh, more improvements are going to be coming," and never happened.
Yeah, and Renegades is when they're coming, and think. If for no other reason, the vault space, and then looks like they're doing some actual vault improvements in the game for the first time ever, practically. I mean, I think they added like the tiny amount of sorting again years ago.
Yeah,
having it be more than 100 spaces. Thank you. Like if this was going to be, we're giving you 100 more spaces and trying to pretend like that's a win. Yeah. That would have just been met with so much backlash and ridiculousness. It's like you can't, I mean, honestly, especially at the rate they're throwing weapons at us during these events. Like again, I cleaned my vault of tons of stuff, and I had hundreds of spaces, but I'm still now starting to run out again, because they're just, when every activity is +2, +3. Where am I to put all of this? What am I supposed to do with all these things? There's simply no way to keep them. Especially, and then the armor rework. It's like, come on, guys. Like, yeah. So I'm glad we're getting a substantial amount of vault space, and not just, here's another 100 spaces. Enjoy for the next 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, it takes the alleviation off of kind of, like, I just hoard stuff in the postmaster to kind of, and then I get to the point where my postmaster goes red in dim and goes, you need to sort this out before we kind of move on to the next activity. And then I spend like 20 minutes going, right, Which of these weapons do I want to keep? Which of these weapons I might want to play with? So I kind of keep like about 5 or 6, and like I haven't got that much space in the vault, so I'm going to have to play one activity and then kind of do a bit more postmaster management. I've moved on from vault management to postmaster management. It's like ridiculous, and just the stress take away that stress of like having to juggle all of that. I mean, for a short period of time, I'm hoping I want to try and keep it down to maybe about 850 things in my vault until we get to the point where they're giving us way too much more stuff. I mean, I was already thinking like, do I pull out all the exotics and put them back into my vault so that I can actually see them?
No,
because when I'm thinking of doing builds and things, I'm like, I don't necessarily take into account that I've got that and it's just in my collections. So I'm like, if it's there and I'm kind of doing the D2 armor picker and I'm working out on Destiny Item Manager of all these different things that I can kind of build into, I then have to go and look, oh yeah, I do have that, but then I've got to find something to infuse it up to kind of go and do. So yeah, it makes so much more sense if, again, like I've said before, if the exotic weapons were a separate kind of part to the vault so that you didn't include those in the vault space. But here's hoping, Bungie. Here's hoping that we kind of get there. We are getting a vault space sorting, improvements to that, like you said. Universal exotic armor ornaments, and we'll go over that in a second. Returning player bonuses and rewards, and another 300 power catch-up. Portal activities additions, so we're getting new solo ops, which is the Typhoon Imperator. Fireteam ops, Return of the Sunless Cell. Introduced Arena ops, 6-player activities. Pinnacle ops, Return of Vox Obscura and Derealized missions. Those exotic missions. I can't remember what you get from Derealized. Vox Obscura
wasn't that the Barodiad?
Possibly. Vox Obscura you can still kind of access via the Legendary tab because it does come up in the rotation for that every now and then, but it's actually being put into the portal, which means stuff, I guess.
Yes.
It's portalified, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and yeah, it derealizes Barodiad. So that was the other problem of the Sunless. You brought the Sunless Cell back, then took it away. You haven't been able to get the Barodiad all this time since Edge of Fate dropped because they simply took the mission away. So if you didn't have it, I have it. I don't have all the extra bits. I don't remember how you have to do those, and I don't think those are accessible necessarily. But at least you can obtain the weapon now because you couldn't even obtain the Barodiad.
Well, you will be able to in Renegades
until now. So yeah, so they're bringing that back into Renegades because a lot of people have asked for that and more. Mm-hmm. I wish that. I wish that it wasn't one new solo op and then a bunch of returning things, which, they do need to return, but it would just be nice if there was a little more new, maybe the end more.
It does say there is more. Yeah, more.
Yeah. So, again, they're introducing the arena ops, which again, I'm losing track again on which ops are which. Like, you had a nice, very clear set of ops and now where does the arena ops fit into the other ops? Are these harder than fire team? Are they between Pinnacle and?
Yeah, it was something that they mentioned when they were launching the portal, and they said that the arena ops, or it might not have been called arena ops, but there was an ops that was missing from the portal that kind of went in between. I think it was raids or pinnacles and fire team kind of things. It was more like 6-player activities, and it was missing. And we were saying, well, where is this? Is it coming? So yeah, it's coming in Renegades.
Yeah. The casual thing that we've all been wanting to play since Edge of Fate dropped.
Yeah. We're also getting portal rewards and cosmetic refresh. So that's weapons and armor, solo fire team and arena ops, crucible ops, pinnacle ops, and trials of Osiris. But more rewards for those. Order system. So this is the thing that's replacing the bounties, common, legendary, and exotic. They're coming. And then 9.5.0.1, which is weekly rituals, which is your Vanguard Alerts, which is coming the second week of Renegades. So we're getting the Grandmaster Vanguard Alerts, Crucible, and Arena Ops, and then continued weekly modifiers and events, but not all coming that week, sometime after. So Sword Week is returning. Foundry weapon sponsorships for Tex Mechanica, that'll be a week where they do something. The Dawning, we definitely know that's coming in December. Arms Week bows. Iron Banner, Heavy Metal, mid-season Call to Arms. So Call to Arms is returning again. Surges, reward boosts, and more. So yeah, that's what is coming. So where they've been and where they're going. As they prepare for Destiny 2 Update 9.5.0 in December, they'd like to take a moment to reflect on some of the learnings from Destiny 2 Update 9.0.0 before shifting focus to our new upcoming content. Starting with the Edge of Fate, we presented a different vision for the future of Destiny 2's core game, one intended to refocus our release and player call to action on familiar but deeper pursuits of power and ascending to higher tiers of gear across a wider range of activities supporting customizable challenges and commensurate rewards. Very quickly, the feedback made it clear that this was the wrong path for Destiny. Even if our execution had been perfect, and we see plainly that it was not, that it's clear that grinding power will never be a substitute for earning a trophy. These lessons, and many others beside them, have been taken to heart by our team over the last 3 months. So, things are going to improve.
If they don't, because things are bad.
Going into Renegades, a focus on quality of life and rewards. So they want to continue applying the lessons they've learned from Renegades and the core game. Some of these changes address a longer-term feedback items, while others continue to iterate on feedback items from the Edge of Fate. They're going to give wider access to power progression, especially in expansion content. Players will be able to reach the power cap directly through Renegades activities if they wish. So that's a nice change, because we were saying that with the Edge of Fate, you can only go up to a certain point, and then it's like, I need to go and play the Portal for the next 6 years to kind of get up to power. So that's a good change, that you can just play the Renegade stuff and get to 550. Brilliant change. That's what we've asked for. Seasonal power and featured gear carry across seasons, also a very good thing. All exotic weapons and armor are now featured. Additionally, they're moving the power catch-up from a chest needing manual pickup to organic drops. Sign in, play Renegades, catapult to 300 power, and play with your friends. Okay, so you don't even need to go and collect a chest now. That's it. It's just there. Increase the vault by an additional 300 slots to 1,000, and they're working on more. Good. In addition, the vault now has a revamped filtering system to help you find what you're looking for fast. And we've got a couple of screenshots from this, like examples of the sorting features include tiers, slots, and power from highest to lowest, and various different pages. What you can look through weapons, armor, ghosts, and other things, I guess, is the other button. And hopefully, once you've kind of set what you're kind of looking for, when you log off the game and then come back, it's still the same. Otherwise, that's going to be a pain having to go back through every time you or even if you change character. So if you keep those features and they're set in stone and you kind of change it, brilliant. Universal exotic armor ornaments. Bungie have decided to open up the fashion game, and players may now apply any owned exotic armor ornament of the same class and the same slot to their exotic armors in PvE activities. Very cool. Armors will continue to show their base aesthetic in PvP activities to avoid confusion in combat. Very cool. Good. When I saw this, I was like, okay, I get that. That's really cool. So you can now kind of put any ornament, and they give the example of the Aeon Swift gauntlets for the hunter. You can put any ornament from any exotic that you own onto these to make them look like, for example, the renewed grass they put on one, or you could use the Oathkeeper ones that you can kind of get, or young Kara's spine. There's various different cool looking ones that make your kind of exotic look better than what it kind of ships as. And I was thinking, if you're going to do this in PvE activities, why can't we have universal ornaments for any kind of armor piece that you've got? Because like I've said, with many of you kind of your different builds and your different like stuff that you get as ornaments from like Eververse, like for example, like we've just had the horror stuff from the Fest of the Lost. It would be really cool if you could put on the full set and still wear your exotic, but have the ornament kind of cover up your exotic. I mean, in PvE, they've kind of basically said it doesn't really matter. But in PvP, to avoid the confusion, it still shows your thing. But yeah, I mean, what do you think?
I think well, that was what my first question was, because they long said, we don't want you to basically, shield your PvP exotic to make it look like something else so people know what you're running. So yeah, my first thought was, is this going to be PvE or PvP? PvE is great. I was I was a little confused when I read it. I didn't quite understand. So yeah, so it's basically any slot. So any chess piece you have, you can put on any ornament from
Exotic.
any other exotic, any other exotic chess piece. Which I saw a couple of people saying, oh, I can't remember Sanguine Alchemy. There's a number of a number of the exotics don't have ornaments, or maybe just have one. So this solves the problem of if there isn't an ornament and you'd like to make something look better, this solves that problem, which I think is great.
Yeah.
And and it being PvE, because how many times have I run Armamentarium and going, well, I've got these 2 grenades on my chest. It doesn't really fit the vibe of what I'm going for in this look, but that's what I got to roll with. So no, I think the PvE change is great, and just you built the system of ornaments. Let me play with them. Let me, it's PvE. Who cares? Let me look how I want to look. As I'm running around in my floppy sun hat from the beach on my warlock. Yeah, no, I think this is great. Yeah, bring the exotics into that fashion game, and then it fixes because I feel like it's Sanguine Alchemy that I see people put out a call for, like, hey, there's still no ornament for this. Hey, I still can't change the look of this. So instead of saying let's make one for everything, let me change the look of it. Let me make it look how I want to look. I think that's great. I think it's a great change.
Yeah.
Let me play dress up better.
Yeah. They're also going to do numerous sandbox buffs to existing exotics and legendary archetypes. Weapons, armor, and more are getting a pass to give you more reason to pull out old favourites or build craft with new ones. Cool. Our first article covering balance changes was released earlier this week, so we've already gone over that, which will be followed by abilities and more coming in the coming weeks. They've reintroduced weekly objectives to support weekly rituals, which is the Vanguard Alerts that we've already kind of talked about. And the arena ops that we've kind of discussed. And again, we've got more pictures of the Vanguard Alerts and the Vanguard Orders, which are replacing the bounty system that we've kind of already discussed, and a picture of what the arena ops is going to look like. So you've got Catch Crash, Astral Alignment, and Nightmare Containment in there. Could be subject to change, but they're 6-player activities. So there is potential for Menagerie and Sundial and things to kind of maybe go in there. So pretty cool.
Yeah, and if Crashes in there, that gives me hopes if they haven't deleted it. That maybe those will come back.
And then at the bottom we have an update for upcoming events. So for the next few months, they also have a full calendar of weekly events and modifiers to keep gameplay going with Destiny 2. So the Dawning is going to be in December, and based on feedback and me moaning, they're returning to a 3-week duration for our large seasonal events. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Say thank you, Night Demon. Thank you, Night Demon, for moaning. Now they understand this is a 3-week event. It should always be a 3-week event. Why isn't it the entire month? I'll go one step further.
Make it 4 weeks.
People, again, your player base is aging. Everyone has travel and family and things. If you want people to play events, give them time to play it. There's no reason this can't be a multi-week event. And also, when something inevitably launches broken, it gives you time to fix it before the event ends. And Bungie, I don't remember what was broken from last year's Dawning, but if you launch it again with the same things broken from last year's Dawning, people are going to be really grumpy. So at least break different things.
Yeah.
If something's going to be broken, which again, I don't blame you that if something's broken. I understand, fewer people, complexity, long-running game, but at least make it a different thing. Fix that thing. Make it a different thing broken, so then you can say, oh, this is due to a new issue. Fine, that we understand, that we're more forgiving on. When you say, hey, if I can go look at a TWAB from this time a year ago and say, oh, we're gonna fix this bug, and a year goes by and you didn't. Again, you've been busy, I understand, but think of how that looks from our perspective. Just please fix the issues that we had last year with the Dawning. But 3 weeks, perfect. That's the way it should be.
Not perfect. Okay, it's good. We'll return to that. But we'll take that for now.
Yep.
Arms Week in January. Our rotation of featured weapons continues with the next Arm Week focused on bows, complete with a new limited time weapon mods. So, new bow, I guess. Guardian Games in March, the return of our yearly class competition with updates to rewards and theming. And then Call to Arms mid-season, which is April. The first Call to Arms has just started, but they're already in the midst of planning a mid-season event for Renegades. And then things that got me worried. Iron Banner TBD. Why is this not in January, December? Just
things we've mentioned but don't have any date on, of just going, listen, we understand that this is part of our game. We don't really know when we're going to bring it back to you.
I would take it if they said that there was an issue that they needed to address with it.
Right.
But I didn't see that there was an issue with it. It's a weekly event that they could squeeze in here and there. Same with the heavy metal. I mean, that TBD for the heavy metal, Tanks versus Briggs, round 3. Just new loot, holofoils to chase.
Is there something we need to do? Is it basically we're going to have it, but we're not sure what week it's going to be? Like, hopefully with the actual roadmap we're going to get, this will be on there, and they'll say, hey, here's the actual roadmap of here's our actual plan for when we're going to bring you these other beloved parts of our game that we just sometimes forget about.
Yeah.
I mean, Gambit, as much as I hope beyond hope that we eventually see Gambit come to the portal, because again, it's an entirely workable game mode that you spend a lot of time, or at least some time fixing, that you now just left. Like, I've made peace with the fact that that's probably never going to happen. As much of an easy win as it feels like, it's just never going to happen. But, Iron Banner, you can't... What are you doing? Iron Banner and Heavy Metal, your brand new game mode. When's it coming back? We don't know. When is Iron Banner coming? We're not really sure. But maybe you can play Trials, pretty please?
Yeah, it would have been nice to have a kind of just a little bit of a line to say they are still working on Gambit. I mean, I haven't played Gambit at all this season, episode, whatever, because there's no point. It's over there. It's not in the portal. If it was in the portal, there'd be a reason to kind of go and play it. But because it's over there, I'm not playing it. And I gave up Gilding My Dredgen title a very long time ago. I think I've got about 5 or 6 on there. But it's just like, yeah, it's over there, and that's where it's staying until they bring it into the portal.
Yeah. I mean, I gilded my title because at this point I'm too committed not to. And because it was one of the few things that wasn't really, at the time at least, suffering from there's not enough people to get a match made activity going, like there was in Crucible and some other things. Like, it was a part of the game that was working and I found it enjoyable and didn't have to sweat through. But yeah, it's not like Bungie's saying on, March 30, March, 29th, we're going to get this. They're just saying, hey, March, this is happening. Hey, we're having an ARMS week in January. Guess what, guys? It's November and we're having an ARMS week. Like, do we need another one so soon? And not even to have a month. I mean, like, it's not like you're giving us exact dates. You're just saying, in this month, this will happen. One of these 4 weeks, this will be available. So you don't even know if you can fit it into one of those 4 weeks. Is that because you're still planning? Is that because it's just weird. It's weird. It's weird. I mean, at least they've listed it to say, yes, we know this exists, but then not even to give it a month. It's like, don't turn this the way of our beloved Gambit. Don't do it, Bungie.
No.
Don't. If you send Iron Banner to the Gambit scrap heap, things are going to get bad. Nadeem's going to show up in your house. He's going to loom over your bed and say, what have you done? And he's going to be very, very cross with you.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for the content calendar. And they thank everybody for their feedback and continue to share their feedback in a respective way. And that will help for their long-term goals.
So excited for the vault changes and the vault improvements.
Yes.
Again, stuff that's years.
Stuff that we knew that was coming, but still relieved that it is still coming.
Yeah. I mean, stuff that I feel like, vault space, perpetual issue, but just the basic improvements to the vault. It's like years in the making. It would have been so nice to have these so long ago. But hey, at least we're going to get them when we get them. And I'm going to be happy about that.
Yeah. So, do we have any more news to go over?
Yeah,
did you put a couple of things in the show notes?
I did, but I don't know if it's anything
relevant now.
Let's see. Basically, people calling out this isn't a roadmap, and DMG saying this is not a roadmap, simply a content calendar for the short term. And quotes the intro where they say this is a short term look. People super excited about the exotic ornaments and saying, yeah, this will be great for fashion. And people calling out that yes, even after the first patch, people are still being asked to play Iron Banner or to complete that quest, and they still can't. And then the rest of the stuff was stuff we already covered. So, do you have any videos? And I know you do because you alluded to some of them.
I do. I have
for the people to watch.
I have a Destiny Fun Police video that goes over an auto rifle that he didn't know that could do like 100 range, and it's the auto rifle that we've spoken about. The I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. The Giver's Blessing.
Oh, Giver's Blessing. Oh, the new one.
Yeah, the new one.
Oh,
he's found it, and he's found that it's amazing.
Ooh.
So he's got a video on that. I have 24 more unique interactions in Destiny 2 that you probably never knew about from Llama. So I didn't. Did we already put the original 25 unique interactions in or not? Because if we didn't, I will also include that as well, because he also links to that in this video.
I don't
know. Don't know if you picked up on it. I'll have a look back through. If it's not, I will link that. So you'll have 50 interactions that you probably never knew about.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't think I did because I don't think I just started following Llama recently, so I don't think I've added it. But yeah, even if not, you don't remember what they are. So yeah, watch them again.
And
enjoy them again.
Cheese has got you covered with a fast heliostat skip to get the high score. So there's a couple of things that you can kind of use, like super abilities and abilities to skip a part of the section in heliostat to make it go faster. So I will link that because that helps a lot of people.
Yeah.
So those are my ones. Oh, also, we'll have the dungeon trailer for the Equilibrium. But yeah.
Very good. Yeah, and I watched a little YouTube this week, but really nothing Destiny related because there was, other than, again, being shamed by Esoteric's videos of how to get 1% and all these things.
Yeah, and then it will change.
Yeah.
So yeah, I won't include those.
Yeah, no. So yeah, so I think we've come to the point where we have to say thank you to our wonderful patrons.
We do.
Renard Calant, who we cannot threaten with a good time.
Yep.
Can't threaten with a good time. And our grenade throwers of Wart Wizard, Golden God 1562, Noble, the man Conan from Texas, and Farrell. Our marvelous grenade throwers, the man we can't threaten with a good time. And maybe we're gonna harangue into doing something later in the year. We'll see what happens. Poke, poke, prod, prod, jab with the stick. And I think we've given you, as we've just rolled over to the 3-hour mark since we sat down in this chair.
Yep.
I think we've probably given you enough Destiny for 1 week. So enjoy
probably
it.
Not. They probably want more, but I've got to go to work and he's got to go and do stuff. Yeah.
They always want more. And we'll be back with more next week. But for now, thank you for joining us. Your Titans are Peroty and Night Demon. You can find this show wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Two Titans and a Hunter everywhere. There we are. If you were screaming at your screen, podcast player, car, whatever, trying to, as we're trying to remember how things work or the names of things, email us, twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com. Tell us how wrong we are and how much fun you have yelling at your podcast player each and every week as we struggle to read and remember names. And at this point, if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, you should. We've got 8-1 updates, Eververse goods, and bets on really what's going to happen each and every week. We don't know. You don't know. We're taking our best guesses, and but we have good fashion for you. And what we do tell you in the show what's coming up next week. But if you want to see a visual version, YouTube has it all. You can find the show and all the show notes at twotitansandahunter.com. That's where we have all the links to all the things we talk about. If you want to be a cool patron like our other cool patrons, patreon.com/TTH. Or if you want a more casual encounter, coffee.com/twotitansandahunter. And twitch.tv/twotitansandahunter. Like I said, just search us up. We're everywhere. And you'll go there, you'll hit buttons, you'll know when things happen, and then you'll be happier for it. And until next week, where we'll have between 1 and 7 more hours of Destiny. Tell the people goodbye, Night Demon.
Goodbye, Night Demon.
Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast.